You want to be here.
Yeah.
You was here. If you were here, you had more control. Here, this wrist took everything.
Yeah.
God damn. You like this?
Kanye on that drum. All right, so welcome back to Sunday's Corner, everybody. How you doing, sis? Welcome to the show.
Fantastic. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming through. If it seems like, oh, well, she's not even giving these people intros. No, I don't give them intros. I let them speak for them damn selves.
I thought my plight in life was about saving the world until I realized I didn't have the skills or the tools to save myself.
Yep. If you're not activating now, then what are you doing? Wasting my time, wasting your time. So let's go. Until next week.
Welcome. Her name is Kim Clayson. Clap it up for Kim Clayson. We love it. Kim Clayson, ladies and gentlemen. There she is.
It does look good. We are going to be flipping seats. Like I said, a lot of the states did go through redistricting. Maryland was one of them, Florida, New Jersey. So we'll be flipping a lot of seats in really good areas.
Sonny Johnson.
Oh, is it on? Like, it ain't like I'm not loud enough. You can't hear it. You know, I can be loud without me saying. And that, you know, before that, I was always like, I'm Hotep adjacent. You know, I would always say that. But when you got to that point, when I was like, okay, now it's Hotep.
What point did you get to?
Hotep Bill. The point where when you hit the realization that it's not about necessarily winning the argument or fighting with the left or fighting with, you know what I'm saying? No, it's not about that. Now, I'm going to create the platform where you can find the content.
These last 5 years of my life have been absolutely amazing, and Chad has been a mentor and helped shape my brain. So if they call me a radical, I've been radicalized by Chad. We can blame him. He's the one that turned me into an anarchist.
Who's the bigger black supremacy? Talking about you guys.
The person who made sure we were government compliant and made us a non-profit organization officially. Shout out to Trish. Did an amazing job helping me out. I really appreciate her. Shout out to Crypto Wendy for coming out. Thank you, Crypto Wendy. Wendy, shout out to Syscoin, our sponsor. You know, shout out to Brody McFarland.
Yeah, I can try to get that handled for you. Again, it's only my second day, so if you can give me a second. How am I supposed to do this? How the hell are we supposed to do this by 5 o'clock?
I have no clue.
Is that possible? Hey, do you have the password to... How'd you finish all your work already?
He's not tapped in. How'd you get that done so quick?
They think they're gonna be able to budget that?
It's money. That's money right there, you understand? You guys finished your work 6 hours early?
He's not tapped in.
2, 1, boom. Hotep Jesus.
Of all the Jesuses I know, he's the Hotepiest. Social scientist and YouTube host, Hotep Jesus.
How the fuck do you get a name like Hotep Jesus?
The one and only Hotep Jesus.
Ryan Sharp, better known to the world as Hotep Jesus.
Hotep Jesus. Hotep Jesus. Hotep Jesus.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
Somebody said, what do you think you are, some kind of Hotep Jesus?
Ooh,
and
that's
I was
good.
Just like, ooh, that's sexy. Yes, I do think I'm Hotep Jesus.
Hotep Jesus. Hotep Jesus. Hotep Jesus.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
Oh, this is a real Hotep brother.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Grift Report with special guest Sonny Johnson.
What's up, everybody?
Sonny, what's up, love? How you feeling? Well, we spoke.
I'm chilling, ready to get into some grifting. You know how we do.
Your hair looks amazing. You look amazing. Looking younger than ever. Welcome.
Oh. Why I feel like I just got off of butter biscuits? What's up? I'm having that feeling like I should grab the honey because the butter biscuits is coming. What's up?
Listen, I talked to Charlie Kirk. We got an extra bag of butter biscuits in the back. Listen, shout out to the chat. What up, chat? We here. We're gonna dive into some very spicy topics. Yesterday, Sonny, we revealed the history of white people, the origins of the white man and woman, which was really interesting. We tracked them back to 3300 BC and Europe, and that was really fun with Shaka Akmo. So here we are talking about another great topic, slavery. Slavery. Now, I woke up this morning, everybody was talking about slaves and skills and slaves and skills, and I was like, what the hell is going on? And I was able to track it back to this article here that says Florida approves Black History standards decried as step backward. And it says the Florida State Board of Education approved new rules Wednesday for how Black history will be taught in public schools that critics are decrying as a step backwards. The updated standards say students should learn that enslaved people developed skills that could be applied for their personal benefit, and that in teaching about mob violence against Black residents, instructors note acts of violence perpetuated against and by African Americans. Now, you know, I saw you this morning. You had some back and forths with Delano Squires, and it seemed like you invited him to a further discussion. Can you give us an update on, you know, where that discussion is and how it started?
That dude has had an open invite to come and check me for about 6 months now.
Really?
And this is my point. They all run, right? So if they got their white audience that they can go in front of and they can do the tingly leg feeling sensation game that they do, they're cool with that. Or if they have to fight a leftist who is going to resort to calling them names and, you know what I'm saying, that makes it easy for them. That gives them an out. But when you have someone who can intellectually, like, actually argue the point with them, you know what I'm saying? They run, they become cowards. So how I act on Twitter isn't how I conduct myself in an interview. So you have a very, you know what I'm saying? Anybody who has listened to me understands, especially if you come to Sonny's Corner, if you're a first-time guest on Sonny's Corner, you get to choose the topic. You get to start it off. You get to open. You get to say your piece before I ever open my fucking mouth. So if I am that easy, if I'm that lightweight, I should be light work. But yet they run. So it tells you exactly what their greatest fear is. Their greatest fear is Black people who know what the hell they're talking about, that do not adhere to the left. That is their greatest fear.
Oh,
see,
wow.
you can't let heritage see him get ate up. You know what I'm saying? He can't let Glenn Beck and the boys see him get ate up. Because then that's going to affect his status. And it's a smart thing to do. I'm not begging on the fact that it's intelligent to make sure you're trying to protect yourself.
Yeah.
But I just want everybody to know that's why I do it openly. That's why I invite openly so everybody can see. And then once you see, I don't have the necessity to keep fighting and going back and forth with no grown ass fucking man. I don't do Twitter beefs. What I have established is you run. And that's all I feel like I have to establish. Now I'm going to go on about my message.
I think Delano Squires comes from the school of Jason Whitlock. He seems like one of Jason Whitlock's soldiers, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he's one of them.
Yeah. So I know from the last time, you know, I had you and Jason Whitlock on the platform. I know you two don't particularly care for each other. And that was quite apparent throughout the entire show. So
was it? You could tell. Well, I mean, what was the hint? What gave it away?
Oh man, I mean the list is it's a laundry list. A laundry list of things. I'm enjoying watermelon today.
I love watermelon. Enjoy. I like mine better than my vodka though, so.
Oh wow. I'll do that too. Absolutely. In case you guys don't know, Sonny Johnson's coming to HotepCon. Special guest. She's gonna be there. She's gonna light it on fire. So, Sonny, let's dive into this DeSantis thing, because I'm gonna be honest with you. If there's one thing that I've liked about DeSantis, it's his eradication of critical race theory. Now, there's new stuff. I don't know what this new stuff is. I'm not caught up on it. You know, this article that popped up today. But obviously, you have some gripes about it, some disagreements. Can you walk me through your disagreements with this new decision and what's so bad about it?
First, this is what happens when you leave white people to their own devices. And because this is always the outcome or reaction, that's why the left is able to mobilize, activate, and organize off of the issue of race. Because if by chance you have the chance as Republicans, as white people, as conservatives, whatever, to do the right fucking thing, every time you have the chance, you fuck around and do something different, right? So you had the chance in striking down what was labeled as critical race theory, which, if everybody is honest, understanding that what the progressives were trying to introduce was a full takeover of kind of the LGBT jump into Black history, right? So if people were standing up and objecting to that, valid objection to stand up for, right? Now the ball is in your court to do the right fucking thing.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is do the right fucking thing. But when you leave them to their own devices, they can't. And that's what gets us here again, where the left has, at a time where the Democratic Party is losing Black people by the droves, right? Where they're not coming to be Republicans, but they are saying that they are not going to support or not going to vote for Democrats. So they are open. In the time when all of that is happening, this is what your dumbass is going to do. This is what you want to make the topic of discussion. And again, this could have been a victory for you, right? So if you wanted to start to talk about how Black people use their skills post-slavery, that's a fucking awesome conversation that goes a lot to explaining when Black people kind of had it good in this country, because we could make a pretty good fucking case when we were able to start using our skills to build our own wealth, to build our own legacies, to build our own families, to build up where it was our shit. That's a good discussion to talk about. But trying to pretend that we had that kind of autonomy or that kind of freedom under the chains of slavery, that's just stupid as shit. And it shows you that they are trying to find a way to whitewash the history, even in the slightest, the best that they possibly can. And it should not be that way. What we should talk about in chattel slavery is not only the brutality of the institution of slavery, but also the bastardization of the Constitution that allows slavery to exist. But those aren't the ones that you want to highlight and bring up to the top point of the conversation, because then that will show you something about yourself that America doesn't want to see. So again, it's not honest conversation. It's not honest history where you had the chance to do the right thing. You had the chance to be the adult in the room. You had the opportunity to redo and reshape the entire conversation, or at least start us on a path to that. But instead, look where we are. So now Kamala Harris is getting on Air Force 2 to go down to Jacksonville, and you think that ain't gonna fucking turn into a campaign? You give them ammo. And now people like me, who are in this fight trying to do right and tell good history, I gotta fight against all the dumb shit you created. So it's not even a matter in that you making my shit harder. You put more work on me. You giving me more that I have to do when my plate is already motherfucking full just because you cannot do the right thing.
A lot of this stuff is grifting. But what do you think was the right way for him to do this? Because you mentioned that. You said they could have done this the right way. What does that look like?
Talking about the actual brutality of slavery, you cannot leave that out. You cannot sugarcoat it.
Okay.
You can't, because it is something that we have to understand to make sure we never go into a pattern of repetition. Right? And that's just point blank and period. And you cannot have you cannot have a discussion where you remove your principles.
Okay.
Right? And I'm looking at this especially from a Republican perspective. You are the liberty lovers. How can you remove the concept of liberty from the discussion of slavery to talk about the skills that were earned? How the fuck does that work? Like, how do you do that? Because you should not ever be able to get to that secondary conversation, because your primary principles should stop you. Right? By the time you have started to let your primary principles fade away so you can have this secondary conversation, you have now bastardized history. You have removed history from its parent. So it has no connection to actual context. And now you are in a different realm where things are spongible, because you don't have to think about the brutality. You don't have to consider the family separation. You don't have to consider the total loss of culture, the total change in language. Like, you don't have to think about any of these things once you take your principles out of the way. So when you have a bunch of people who pride themselves and walk around like they are somehow principled, they are the principled ones in the room, and they so easily bastardize history by removing principle, like, you can't take them seriously. And again, it erodes the overall notion, the overall idea, which we are, from what I thought, we wanted to push that out into society. We wanted them to understand liberty so they don't let government continue to fuck them. We wanted them to, we want these concepts to go out. Here is your opportunity to be principled first and get those ideas out. But you can't do that because the issue is slavery. And you would rather go backwards, backpedal for tingles, as opposed to pushing that conversation forward. I'll ask you this. When it was a time in America where white people willingly pushed us forward on the issue of race?
As a group?
Yeah. Or you can put any subgroup, whatever. At what time in American history have white people actually pushed us forward willingly?
Every
time
I can't recall.
we get pushed forward, Every time we go forward, it's because Black people push.
Yeah.
They never do it willingly.
Yeah.
They never do it by choice.
No. Unless they
So
want to
the
co-opt
only
it like the
way-
progressives.
The only way we get forward is when Black people push.
Right.
Right?
Right.
That's the most American fucking thing you could do. And now you have these same people walking around talking about oh, we've come so far as a country on the issue of race. You didn't come far. You were pushed far. You were forced far. You know what I'm saying? You were dragged far. You did not come. You did not willingly choose. You did not make a choice. And just like with this, every time the choice is in your hand and you can do the right thing, you fuck it up. Every time.
Isn't some of it ignorance? Do you think some of it could be just blatant ignorance and naivety?
I don't care. Like, I don't care. I don't care what your shortcomings are. I don't care what you feel like. I don't give a fuck why. I'm not putting on a clinic here to diagnose your feelings. I know you could have did it right and you fucked it up. Now, where you go to get the secondary conversation about your own naivete, that's going to be a you thing you solve on your time. Because now, guess what I have to do? I have to go clean up the shit you caused from whatever shit you got going on in your own head. So I'm pretty busy trying to clean up after you. So no, I don't have time to consider your fucking feelings in this matter.
Okay. It seems like there may be a timing issue then here, right? Because you're basically saying it's election year and all these Black people are leaving the Democratic Party. And
no, I'm just saying that's a matter of coincidence. That's just coincidentally happening all at one time.
Right.
I'm not putting the two things together as them correlating or having some effect. It's just that at the time when this is happening for its own reason, under its own accord,
right,
you want to come along and do this. And that looks like some stupid shit to me, right?
Well, that seems like bad timing,
looks like
right?
you are not trying to actually win anything.
But that's bad timing, though, right?
It's common timing. I don't know. Maybe it's not, to me, bad timing because it's so consistent. It happens all the time. It's going to happen again. Like, it's not even just this. When we were having this conversation, you also had the Libertarian Party fighting with Nina Turner about whether insulin and slavery are comparable.
Whether what? Insulin and slavery?
Yes.
What was that argument about? What? I don't get that.
Basically, you know, if you follow Nina Turner basically thinks everything should be free, right? Your houses should be free. Your healthcare should be free. You like everything to her should be free, right?
Okay, so she's a socialist,
And
all right?
she's a socialist, and she's very open about it. She was with Bernie Sanders. She ran our Renaissance or something. I think that was the name of it. So she's very honest about who she is. She's very honest about where she stands.
Right.
And basically, the Libertarian dude put out a comment that says something like,
she should be a slave for free or work for free.
no, you should like. I should be able to force Nina Turner to pick cotton for me.
Oh my God. He didn't say that.
Yes.
No, they didn't.
Oh, yes. So then the memes start coming. Nina, she jumped on it. She loved it because she just as clickbaiter and grifty as the ones that's fighting with her. And now you got a whole conversation going on about insulin and slavery. Like, so to me, that's what I'm talking about when you say bad timing. It's going to be a different fucking story next week, right? Like, it's not even a matter of fucking timing because it's always so consistent.
Nina Turner picking crops should be free. Is that the one?
Yeah, they have, since everybody latched onto it, they've spread. But yes, basically, that's kind of the notion of what it was. And of course, Nina Turner jumped on it and has been trying to soak it for everything she can.
Yeah, I think I see the screenshot of the tweet here. And this is the Libertarian Party, not to be confused with Mises Caucus, because Mises Caucus don't act like this. I'll say, okay, so here's Nina Turner. Let me put this on the screen so everybody can see the dialogue happening here, if we can even call it dialogue. I think it's here. Yeah. Let's put this on the screen. All right, so here's Nina Turner. Here's the tweet situation. And I'll fix our cameras in just a moment. I'm sorry. All right. So Nina Turner here says insulin should be free, medicine should be free, and then the Libertarian Party says Nina Turner picking crops should be free. And she says this is racist and anti-black, period. In no way is advocating for free insulin comparable to chattel slavery. Shameful and uneducated. So I guess what you're saying here is this is a bit tone deaf, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could have made your argument without giving her the ammunition to take it racial. But you can't do that because racial is so much more fun. Being fucking racist is so much more fun, right? You can't make your argument any other way than with race. But when the left does it, it's identity politics and baiting.
Right.
But when you do it, it's just a justifiable joke that we should understand.
Right.
So when do you willingly make the choice to stop being dicks?
Well,
and you never willingly make the choice. You always want to make us force you into it.
I think there's a maturity aspect here. I think that, especially how the right operates. I've said this in the past. You know, everything's about, you know, gotcha, you know, and you got ratioed. And it's like, that's some shit we would care about in high school. You know, how many replies were on a tweet. But it seems like their priorities are messed up. And I think some of it is a maturity thing. Especially the Libertarian Party. They skew a little bit younger. They're like 25 to 35. So there's a bit of a maturity issue here.
Well, I laugh because after Maj got him, Maj jumped on that ass.
Yeah, I seen
They
Maj.
put out a poll. They put out a poll where they put their opinion and Maj's opinion as the two options, and Maj beat them on their own poll. So it speaks a little bit of volumes for what's going on over there.
Oh, so there's a poll too. They must have deleted that.
Because Maj won.
Really?
Mm-hmm. They put the poll out. They made the choice, them or Maj, and Maj won.
When? Yesterday or today?
I think it was today. Or they might have put the poll out today and I saw it. They might have put the poll out yesterday and I saw it today.
Right. Or maybe it's not this account. Maybe it's a different account that posted a poll, because there's a bunch of Libertarian accounts. Either way, as I look for it, what do you think is the cause of the Libertarian Party having this type of take towards Nina Turner? Is it not just them grifting too, or are they racist?
They don't. I think from what I hear from a lot of them is they are the individualists that don't care about the community. So to them, causing strife in a community is laughable because they don't believe in the idea of community.
It's all about,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter to them worrying about what society says or does. And in some ways, we all feel that way. But when you're talking about politics, where the whole aspect of it is you must get people to buy in because they have to vote for you to actually win, then you are you're operating in a different space. That portion of your ideology does not equate. You cannot ostracize, cut off people, and then say we're a valid political party, because you're not. And then you have people that are trying to do the work to turn you into something real.
Yeah.
But you want to play race games instead of doing real work. So you showing yourself for what you are. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you can't take them any more seriously. I'm looking right now, and like the most serious people, and this isn't even funny when it comes to a political party, is the fucking no labels people that actually understand we got to organize, who actually understand we have to feel tested. And I'm sitting here like, they're functioning like a political party is supposed to function.
You said no labels?
Yes.
That's
no labels are trying to put on a third party candidate. If the candidates are Joe Biden and Donald Trump, then no labels is going to consider putting a third party candidate together, more than likely led by Joe Manchin from West Virginia.
I see it here. NoLabels.org. Had enough of the angriest voices dominating our politics. Join our movement. They got 108,000 followers on Twitter. NoLabels.org. Interesting.
And they have mega money. They have big donors. They have a political apparatus, and they are currently at this moment getting their party trying to get put on all 50 ballots across the United States, just in case they decide to run a candidate.
This is interesting. Let me put this on the screen for the people, for anybody that may be interested. I think options are good in politics.
But they are like the only ones that are functioning like a party, right? So if you look at what's happening within the Democrat Party, you have their party entirely hijacked by LGBTQ plus MILMO. They have total control over everything right now. And there's a lot of people within their base that feel like the party is abandoning them. Right. Okay. And then with the Republican Party, you have the same thing where you have the Paul Ryan, Paul Ryan ilk, the brand, all of them at the top. And the base feels like that they are detached from them. So you had a separation even there. And then you have these people that are like, yo, we're not left. We're not right. We think that both of them are fucking crazy. We just want good governance. Yeah. Right? Now, I think that these people are the most dangerous people in the country.
Because
they don't know what, like the people that are in the middle. Yeah. Those are the most dangerous people in the country because they don't actually believe in shit. Like No Labels doesn't have a platform. It doesn't have, like, we're just going to solve problems. What problems? How you gonna, like, what, like, you don't even have to give any kind of evaluation of what you plan on doing, because what you plan on doing is, well, we're not going to do what the left did and we're not going to do what the right did. We're just going to solve the problem. Well, what the fuck does that look like? Like, you can't just say that and run on it and then have us all be like, yay, solve the problem. What problem? How? What does it look like? You got to tell us something. But as of now, they don't even want to do that. And I think because the moment they start doing that, then you'll start seeing them have this exact same splits as the other political parties, right? So, but at least they understand at this point through being abstract that the idea is to organize and to start getting people together and getting people excited about what's getting ready to happen. And like I said, I think you don't see that happening on the Democrat side. You definitely kind of don't see that happening on the Republican side either. And I hate to tell these people that show up for Trump rallies, that is not organizing.
You said what? What's not organizing? Showing up to a Trump rally?
Yes.
Okay.
That is not organizing. That is just you showing up to a fucking rally. Organizing is when you are in your community, meeting people, getting them registered to vote, talking about the issues, becoming engaged. That is organizing. And Republicans are not doing that. So if anybody that is following Scott Presler knows, because he's telling everybody, like, they are not organizing. They're not doing the work. He's doing more work than they are doing as a whole political party, because they have gotten to this idea of technology and modernization that they can do everything, and it doesn't have to be hands-on, it doesn't have to be grassroots. And politics is hands-on, it's grassroots. That has not changed because technology has changed. And you have Republicans that are not taking advantage of it and this time period and doing the work. And like right now with the RNC, they don't even have anybody hired for Black outreach or Hispanic outreach for that point. So you get ready to come up on 2024, you don't even have people in place that are putting strategies that take time to develop, that take time to implement, that take time to make sure all pieces are properly placed and filled. That shit takes time. So you're gonna what? Throw it together when there's what? 3-4 months left before the election and say, go build it? Like, really? So it's just a matter of understanding that, like,
there's a lot of infrastructure that needs to be built.
It's a lot of infrastructure that needs to be built, and they're not taking it seriously. Like understanding when it comes to poll watchers and ballot watchers, you need a whole fucking legion of them. And you don't need to be sending people in from out of state. You need to be organizing and getting those people who live in that district to be participating in this. So you don't need to be harvesting from other areas. People who don't care, don't have no connection, won't be impacted by locally and shit. What the hell happens? Like, putting these people in instead of organizing on the ground in these areas and having people that live there that have skin in the game when it comes to the politics as being a part of that process. But no, you want to outsource and pay and send in your friend's college kid. And he makes a nice chunk of money, but you get screwed. They've set up an entire scheme to pay their friends, even if it costs you elections. And grassroots conservatives and Republicans should be pissed about this and the way that they are operating. But here we are, from the grown-ups in the room, right? From the supremacists. Isn't that what they say? Couldn't think themselves out of brown paper bag.
What up, Corey? Corey from the Corrected Felon podcast said, what's up, the Holy One, and hi, Auntie. Shout out to Corey. Appreciate you. Hold on, I think I saw Jimmy Doss drop some dollars in here, too. Oh, $20. Happy Friday. Salute. Yo, thank you for joining. Thank you for the super chat there, Jimmy. You the man, bro. You are the man. All right, Sonny, let's go back. I want to circle back to Black history. What does your Black history program look like? Where does it start and where does it end?
And really, you don't have to teach Black history separate. It should be taught as a part of American history, because that is how you get a complete and total picture, right? So it should not need to be separated. The only problem is they never want to include us, except in, again, ways that they are forced. So if we force them to mention slavery, okay, well, we'll include them, but we'll say that they were skilled workers. You know what I'm saying? Like, fucking stop. Like, don't do that. America was born, as Condoleezza Rice said it, America was born with the birthmark of slavery, right? That was it. We have to explain that. We have to talk about that, and we have to take that seriously. But this is why one of the reasons why I consistently do What is the 4th of July to the Slave by Frederick Douglass. Everybody's like, why do you repeat that so much? It's my favorite and most influential to me, but it's also the roadmap, right? So at the beginning of it, he talks about the founding of America. He talks about the founding fathers. He talks about the epic mission that they were about to undertake. He talks about how hard it was. He talks about how exceptional they were, how their character had to be of honor to be able to accomplish what they accomplished. And we can look at all of that. We can acknowledge all of that. We can see, a certain number of great men had to be born at the exact same time in the exact same place to accomplish what they accomplished. And to look at that story, to revere that story, to understand that story is to love America and to understand where we came from. That doesn't need to be hid. I don't want to talk about them negatively and reduce them to just slave owners because they were so much more. What they did, their impact was so much more. We don't have to degrade, we don't have to belittle, we don't have to destroy. But in that context, when after they did this, after they had this great fight for liberty, they left slavery in place. Now we need to start asking some questions as to why. For our own understanding as American citizens, what happens when you have a constitution that says liberty and justice, that, not liberty and justice, that you have the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, but you have slavery? Like, you know what I'm saying? That's a conversation. Do they ever want to have that portion of the conversation? Because I think if we had that portion of a conversation, it would go a lot farther to us understanding why race is an issue. Because so many people want to take the issue out. Well, you can't take it out. You cannot. At the moment when the Constitution was signed and we became a nation, we officially became a nation, Black people were not included. You cannot leave that out. You cannot subtract that because that is a part of the story. And if you leave that out, how do you explain the Civil War? See, if you start leaving shit out, then the outcomes, the consequences of those decisions, you can't connect the dots and understand that the whole reason we had a civil war was because race was acknowledged. Race was put into a concept. It became a very piece and fabric of America. So now when you have people running around talking about, and if you want to say, well, race isn't real because of blood and this, that, and science, and okay, fine. But when it comes to historical context of America, race is real because it was implemented from its very fucking beginning. Right? You can't unwrite that. You can't take that out. You can't sugarcoat it because that concept and idea strings all the way through history to where we are now. If you take that out, how can you tell our story?
Can't.
How can you tell this country's story?
Can't.
How can you explain why Frederick Douglass matters?
Can't.
How can you explain why Black troops were treated the way that they were treated when they came home after World War II?
Can't.
Like, you cannot tell our story. So to me, it's a matter of us. If you want people to love this country, you can't force them into it. You can't manipulate them into it. You can't indoctrinate them into it. But what you can do is tell them a story of a country that fought and bitched and moaned and whined and fucked up and got their shit together and it fucked up again and it built all of us. Right? Because that's the story we know about our own lives. That's who, you want us to identify with our country? Tell us that story. Tell us the truth. But you have one group who thinks they can tell us all of the negative so we can hate our country. Then you have another side that's like, oh, we're going to tell you nothing but the positive so you can pretend you love our country. And I'm just like, let's actually love our country. Right? Let's actually just tell the history. It's got good history. It's got bad history. It's got bruises. We fucked up. We got it wrong. This is where we got it right. This is when we started to switch. It is a beautiful fucking story. But so many people get stuck in the version they want to tell. They won't let Americans fall in love with America. Because they won't give it the real. They won't give it the truth. They won't give it the essence of who, what, and why we are. And I think if you want people to fall in love with this country, Give them the country story. Give them the real story and let them see themselves reflected in America. And you're going to have a generation that starts to love his country again.
Well put. You know, I remember doing a stream one time with Spider-Man, Amazing Lucas. And I was hypercritical of his country and its history. And it seems like now, with the FBI being exposed, everybody's like, oh my God, I can't believe. I'm like, do you know the history of your country? Like, this shouldn't surprise you, right? So as we begin to wind down here, how do you think we make race relations in America better? And I think some of it may be what you touched on, right? Telling a true history of the United States and letting people draw their own conclusions on their own time, on their own will. But, you know, how do you envision race relations in America getting better? Are they better? What's your take on that?
Stop caring what the left thinks on the issue of race. Right? Stop thinking what the left cares about on the issue of race. Like, stop. Because everything the right does is geared in opposition to what the left does. So if your first step is to stop caring what the left does, that would be a really, really great start. Then actually practice what you believe in, the idea of the individual, and talk to Black people. Right? So the majority of the time, and nowadays, if I'm talking to a white conservative starts talking to me like I'm Nina Turner. You know what I'm saying?
It happened to me yesterday with a phone call. I'm like, they should group all Black people together. I'm like, we don't all think alike.
So when you start doing that, and they do it because that's the only talking points they know. Like, those are the things they can fight against. Those are their safe spaces where they feel comfortable, right? So they can't look at a Black person and just talk to that person like an individual and have like a honest conversation. I was just talking to one of my peoples about some of the work that they're doing, and they had this guy that they're working with, and he needs to be able to talk to a group of Black people. And she was like, so I did it, I brought him in, disaster, like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? And I said this, I was like, tell him if a Black man walked in and he had to win you, what would he have to say? And once you figure out what he would have to say to win you, take that to Black people. Because you think like we are the left. You think we're all Nina Turners. So you don't think you can take your conservative, capitalistic-minded, freedom lovers, liberty message to Black people, and Black people will accept it because you think we're all Nina Turner, right? But if you just, I don't know, did the shit you say you believed and was like actually principled, you might find that you could actually have conversations with Black America. And then the third part is, like I said from the beginning, race has been ingrained in this country since its inception. The concept of it is not going away. It is not going away. Again, we cannot tell our history if the concept disappears. So now the answer is simple. We learn our history correctly. We end up loving our country and realizing, just like our country, we're still gonna fucking fight. We're still gonna fucking have arguments. We're still gonna disagree. We're still gonna fail. We're still gonna fuck up. And then we're still gonna pick ourselves up and go forward because that's what Americans do. And if we can even give each other that little bit of grace, we would move a lot further in having what I would deem voluntary association between the races, where you are not having us trying to erase the concept as a whole, but having us understand that we need each other for the survival of the country that we both love. And when you start getting to that point, I think you're going to have better race relations. And especially if you give conservatism to Black America, we actually can go to building our own financial wealth, building our own hotspots. We must have them. Like, again, we've learned y'all never going to do right by us willingly. Like, sorry, that's the history. That's another one of the reasons why we can't leave race out of it. We've learned you're never going to willingly do right by us. So if we already know that, then we need to start building our own shit, right? We need to start making sure our own shit is in place. So yeah, we're going to have this voluntary association, and in certain places we might even have voluntary integration. But we always need a place that we can call home and we can come back to, and we can feel safe at, and we can heal at, and we can, you know what I'm saying? We always gonna need that. So having Black communities is still integral in everything that we do. But it is possible for us to have, like I said, that voluntary integration spot and that voluntary association when it comes to politics.
Last question before I get to my last question. PewResearch.org publishes this study here March 8th, 2023. It says Black Americans view capitalism more negatively than positively, but express hope in Black businesses. Libertarian Party of New Hampshire has gotten a hold of this, and they said socialism is the reason for Black poverty. The majority of Black Americans don't support free markets. The results are predictable. What do you make of the Libertarian Party's interpretation of the data?
They all think we're Nina Turner. See what I'm saying? They all think we're Nina Turner. Now, look at the violent people that they're talking about.
The what?
Right? The Black people they want to call violent. You know, all right. So what's their main motivating factor?
Money.
What do they operate?
You mean outside of weapons?
Just what area do they operate in? They operate in free markets.
Oh, they operate in the free markets, yes.
The Black markets are the closest thing they have to free markets. Right. That's where they operate.
That's the closest thing to a free market. That's correct.
Yeah, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. These are your capitalist champions, and they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They don't know how to relate. They don't know how to put it into analogy. They don't know how to, they don't know it. They're dumb as fuck. And again, we're supposed to look at these people like they somehow have some supremacy. I refuse. I cannot do it. But what I will say is, if you say that Black people have a negative outlook on capitalism, I would say first and foremost, there are Black Marxists amongst us. We must be aware that there are Black Marxists amongst us, right?
Yeah.
Secondary, and those are the Nina Turners. Secondary, damn it, I lost my train of thought. Second amongst that is how capitalism has been explained to Black Americans.
Correct.
So for most Black people, capitalism is the reason for slavery. Capitalism becomes the cause of all of this. Even if you look at everything they're complaining about, and it goes back to progressive policy, where actually no, progressivism is what the fuck you mean, but because Republicans suck so bad, they don't even have the ability to split and be like, no, you are not going to blame capitalism for what progressivism did. Right. And this goes to the whole concept of talking about systemic racism, right? Where white people are like, no, systemic racism isn't real. And then you're like, okay, so progressives have been in these areas for how long? Complete control for how long? Black people have been in generational poverty held down by those policies for how long? But there's nothing systemic about it. Are you sure? Because if you were to bring out and start talking that there was maybe something systemic about it, and then you were to say, okay, how about we offer you a different system, i.e. capitalism, maybe under a different system, you might get different results. So if you were a smart Republican who understood and actually had the intellect to play the game, that would be your argument. But anybody that thinks that Black Americans hate the idea of capitalism, hate the idea of making money or getting to the bag, you lost your damn mind.
Ain't that the truth? Last question. Who you supporting in the next election? Robert Shalami, Trump? We don't call him Vivek on this channel. We call him Robert.
I am not supporting anybody as of yet.
As of yet?
As of yet.
Not even 47?
I might walk around and endorse this go around for some personal petty reasons. So I'm thinking about that, but I haven't made up my mind and decided.
You said you might throw your support behind somebody just for just pure petty purposes.
I make that announcement known for petty purposes.
Oh.
Now, support wouldn't be for petty purposes.
I got you. You would make the announcement.
Yeah, that would completely be done for petty reasons on my own personal behalf.
You know, I'm waiting for somebody to throw me the bag. I got the 47 hat on my head for many different reasons, but one of those is to let people know I can be bought.
Hey, look, honestly, you can't. I would do the work, but it would have to come with a bag. It had to come with a bag.
I need a bag.
You know why? Because motherfuckers don't respect you if you don't make them pay a grip for you.
Facts.
So I'm looking at it now like you gonna have to give me the grip, because the grip tell me you gonna want to win. You ain't just trying to waste money. So at this point, you gonna have to give me the grip and let me know your heart is in it. And then that way I know it'll be safe for me to put my heart into it too.
Correct. You really believe in it. Yeah. Yeah. So true. So true. Ladies and gentlemen, Sonny Johnson.
I do good. My head was banging a little bit, so I hope I gave you quality content.
Oh, I mean, I feel like you could just do that in your sleep at this point. So you don't even got to try no more. Excellent, dope conversation. Sonny Johnson be at HotepCon. Make sure you get your tickets at HotepNation.com. Grift Report will continue right after this brief commercial.
Yeah, I can try to get that handled for you. Again, it's only my second day, so if you can give me a second. How am I supposed to do this? How the hell are we supposed to do this by 5 o'clock?
I have no clue.
Is that possible? Hey, do you have the password to... How'd you finish all your work already?
He's not tapped in. How'd you get that done so quick?
They think they're gonna be able to budget that?
It's money. That's money right there. You understand? You guys finished your work 6 hours early?
He's not tapped in.
Hotep Jesus? Hotep Jesus? Hotep Jesus?
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
What's up, people? It's the Grift Report. It's time to turn up, man. It's time to turn up. Time to get this party started. We got a couple of things to talk about today.
Step one, get into the word and get out the zoo. Step two, kill your old self and become new. Step three, turn from all the sinning that you used to do. Step four, tell the whole squad they can do it too. Christ walk, step, hey, Christ walk, step, and soon you gon' have to put the meal down and get some meat. Preacher sound good when you a baby. Christ, that ain't that sweet. Easy being Christian on the net, but what about in them streets? We at war with all these evil rulers. Are you down for beef? You gon' get persecuted by the world, even by your friends. It's gon' be the closest people to you. You thought that's your man. Devil working, he gon' push the limit to see where you stand, especially when you have a weak moment. He know that's his chance, but you down to lose for the kingdom. You might lose your bands. I mean, look at me as an example. I done lost my fans. All these demons trying to bring you down any way they can. Are you gonna endure it to the end? Tell me what's your plan. Step 1, get into the word and get out the zoo. Step 2, kill your old self and become new. Step 3, turn from all the sinning that you used to do. Step 4, tell the whole squad they can do it too. Christ walk, step, hey, Christ walk, step, step.
At this point, it's like common sense that he coming. So I ain't even really Christ walking, I'm running. From all of my sins, I'm making amends with all of the people I dislike. Because if I don't, then I'ma go down with the ones I dislike. Down with the wicked. Down and conflicted. Tell me, why would I ever risk it? This new life, why would I end it? I gave God my dependence. After he left his imprint, it was all switched in an instant when I was transformed from a misfit. I gotta follow the covenant and get it right before he come again. On fire for Christ, I'm bubbling. Don't touch unless you got an oven mitt. Left everyone I was in trouble with. When I sacrificed it, he doubled it. I don't put faith in no other men. Yahweh is my only government. I'm the light child.
Step 1, get into the word and get out the zoo. Step 2, kill your old self and become new. Step 3, turn from all the sinning that you used to do. Step 4, tell the whole squad they can do it too. Christ walk, step, hey, Christ walk, step.
Yeah, I say the old me dead in the cemetery, go ahead and write that obituary. About to preach on the beat, I ain't go to seminary, still gon' give them the word like a dictionary. I'm army like the military, ain't talking no guns, been reading Ephesians.
Christ Walk by Bryson Gray off that new album, Letters to the Church, Part 2. Letters to the Church 2. Somebody asked me in the chat, Retro Neon, he said, what up, Don Day? He said, there's other tracks on the album, HJ, don't be scared. Listen, hold on a second. I got to put you hip, first of all. I got to put you hip, right? I got to put you hip. You know what I mean? Now, we go to playlist, and we go to playlist, you're going to see right here, it says, what does that say right there? Letters to Church, HJ Mix. You see that? So I got 7 tracks from the album that I made my own playlist. I got my own playlist from Bryson Gray over here. You know, but that's my theme music. Christ Walk is my theme music, you know, so I'm going to be playing Christ Walk. That's my theme music. I don't know what you want me to do about that, bro. That's the record we playing here. That's the single we playing here. It's in rotation. It's on playlist. You know what I'm saying? So Retro Neon asked me, said, what would you do if your channel reached 100K on YouTube? It's a simple question to answer. I would take the plaque and send it to my mom and have her hang it on the wall in her office or somewhere and move on with my life. You know, I've lost all emotional attachment to numbers, and it gets worse as the days go on. Especially now that I'm shadow banned on Twitter under Elon. Severely shadow banned under Elon. The engagement there is, you know, utterly trash. It doesn't grow. My YouTube doesn't grow. It seems like the only place that I'm actually growing is Rumble and TikTok. Rumble and TikTok are the only places that my brand is growing. It grows slowly on YouTube. You know, I'll get a bump from Gutfeld. Like here, I'll show you my analytics. I'll show you my analytics here for my YouTube. Let me pull it up. So let's go here. Analytics. Subscribers. And I'll show you what this looks like. You look at it right here. This is my, can you guys see that? Subscriber chart? I want you to see just the chart. I want you to see just the chart so we don't get any confusion here, right? You guys see that, right? So this is last 28 days. So in the last 28 days, I've made a total of $615. Big money. And you'll see these spikes, right? Like you'll see, here, I'll show you. So there's some movement, then I'll lose 6 subscribers, then I'll gain 10, then I'll gain 1, and -1, and then I'll go on TV, and then I'll get a bump, right? So this was the Gutfeld bump, right? And then it comes down, and then I lose 6, lose 1, gain 8, lose 5, lose 21, and then I get bumped up again. Go on TV, 183, 139, 32, and then that dies off, and then we come back, and it's just -1, -10. And yesterday I lost 15 followers. I don't know what it's from. I don't know. Maybe it's old accounts or something like that, because I've had my YouTube for a really long time. But yeah, so I just don't pay attention to this stuff anymore. I don't. If we go to my Social Blade, let's pull up Social Blade. Let's go to Social Blade. Let's pull up this. Let's go to Hotep Jesus, and I'll choose my Twitter here. And let's look at those numbers and see what that looks like. Wait, why did this? Oh, I'm in the wrong window. So let's go here. And then you guys will be able to see this. But yeah, you know, the red marks. You know, when the left was in charge of Twitter, this was always green, like always green. And then now it's like I'll have days like, you know, Tuesday lost 20, lost 36, lost 14, lost 43. Go on TV, things get better, and then come back and it's just like, no. I gained a whopping 3 followers on Thursday, and today I'm up 5 followers. These numbers look completely different before Elon took over. So yeah, currently the only place that I actually grow is on Rumble. And maybe I can show you what that looks like. Ooh, so let's go to Rumble. Hit the like button if you're on Rumble. Let's get me to let's get to the front page. Quartering's live. You see the Quartering got the big box here. They gave Quartering a big box right there. Are we on the front page? Live. So we haven't made to the front page, at least not on this refresh. Let me refresh again and see if we make it. No. Let me see. No. Refresh. No. All right. So yeah, we're not on the front page for live. Maybe we're in a different category. Okay, podcast. There we go. So I'll get this type of love on Rumble, you know, where I'm featured under podcasts. Can you guys see that? Yeah, you guys can see that. So there we are, Sonny Johnson, my picture. So this doesn't happen over on YouTube. So let's dive into the channel itself. So the channel itself is at 3.54K. And maybe I can show you some more stats. Stats and earnings. Okay, let's go stats and earnings. And does it show growth, channel growth? Or does it just show money? Okay, earnings. Unique views. Okay, I see views here. I don't see any stats for subscribers. So maybe they have to build that tool out to show me, you know, the subscriber growth. I see recurring subs. Okay, we have a recurring subs. Okay, it says you don't have any recurring subs. I know we do, because some of you guys are supporters here. But yeah, so anyway, it is what it is, you know. So I wouldn't feel shit. I wouldn't feel shit if I hit 100K on YouTube. I wouldn't feel shit. But I'm also not the easiest person to follow because, well, I don't just shill the left and I don't shill the right. So, you know, one false move, one independent opinion, and I lose followers. Kid Gravity Beyond said, salute to Hotep Jesus and Sonny Johnson. Appreciate you, man. Throwing some shekels in the pot. As you can see, we're 100% community supported. I still don't know how I'm alive and surviving. But it's the grace of God that I'm still online doing this. It's the grace of God. I'm telling you, without God, I don't know where I'd be. That's an honest opinion. You know what's about to go down right now? I'm about to drink this watermelon water from the plate. Because it was just sitting there looking juicy. That's probably another reason why I ain't got no subscribers, because I keep eating on film, on screen. They're probably like, is that the black guy that's always eating? You have to listen to him eat. So that's probably another reason why. So a lot of it isn't just shadow banning. It's my fault. You know, I'm not exactly, like I said, I'm not the easiest person to follow, and I don't know the rules of this shit. But anyway, let's get into the Grift Report. Shout out to Syscoin. Without Syscoin, this definitely would not be possible. Without Syscoin, none of this would be possible. So make sure you get your Syscoin bags. Start stacking your Syscoin bags so you can be a part of the community, especially when the community drops. A Super DAP coming soon. When Super DAP come, I don't even want to hear y'all say shit. We ain't even gonna be worrying about YouTube. Super DAP come, I want to see y'all on the Super DAP. That's where I'm gonna be communicating with people on the Super DAP. So that's that. All right, let's pull out the Grift bag. Let's see what we got in here. It's a light Grift bag. We're going to get to the callers early today, so I want y'all to be ready. First of all, R.I.P., man. R.I.P. to Gilly the Kid's son. He was unfortunately murdered this weekend. Or yesterday, or I'm not sure when this happened, but YNG Cheese, or Young Cheese, local rapper, son of Philadelphia rap artist and podcaster Gilly the Kid, was killed in a triple shooting Thursday night. A source close to the family confirmed with NBC 10. And I know some people run around making jokes talking about he sacrificed his son for the $50 billion deal. That's some bullshit. Like, we're not about to do that. But man, like, this is heavy. This is heavy on the heart, man. I don't know Gilly. My homies, one of my homies is fairly close with Gilly. And back when I was doing my music game thing, we've attended events with Gilly. And Gilly's always been mad cool. He's always been very funny. But generally, Gilly's a good guy. And to see him have so much success coming from where I remember him to now, it's been a miraculous journey. See him ink a $50 million deal with Barstool Sports or whoever it was, or whatever that deal looked like. I thought it was phenomenal. And yeah, losing his son, I mean, I just couldn't, I don't even want to try and imagine what that's like. So prayers up in the chat. Throw the praying hands in the chat for Gilly the Kid and his family as they go through this trying time. And Gilly has spoken out about violence in the community a bunch of times, and how he's tired of seeing innocent people die at the hands of violence in the city. And man, absolutely fucking ugly, bro. Absolutely fucking ugly. We gotta do better, man. We gotta do better. Anyway, on a brighter note, let's go back into the Grift bag. And let's pull this up. Hold on. I think it's a couple of tweets I gotta pull up. Gotta pull this one and this one. Let's go there. Let's pull these up on the screen now. So Billboard Chris here says, in recent weeks, Twitter is putting permanent sensitive content bans on many users, particularly parents speaking out against gender ideology. Elon Musk, you told us time for parents to fight back. Well, Twitter is fighting back against us. There's a New York Post article. Let's put this on the screen so you can read along with the class, children. Linda Yaccarino says Twitter is preparing new safety features in bid to win back advertisers. So she's going to unveil new safety features in the coming weeks to address advertisers' concern about hate speech. On the Money has learned, but her boss Elon Musk hasn't been making things very easy. The new features. Yaccarino's key focus since her surprise move to Twitter from NBC Universal last month, according to sources, will give advertisers advanced controls to decide what kinds of content their ads appear next to, sources said. The so-called adjacency controls, which beef up Twitter's brand safety and suitability capabilities, also will enable advertisers to sift through an inventory of content and select what they find most suitable according to the sources. These people add that none of the controls being introduced existed before Yaccarino joined, and Twitter is hoping they'll be more effective than humans. Nevertheless, some advertisers remain rattled as Musk, who bought Twitter for $44 billion in October, has failed to curb his notoriously unpredictable tweeting habits of late. Whatever the hell has anything to do with anything. Dick measuring contests. This is why I hate journalism, because they never really. They're just filling an article. Give me the meat. Pause. All right, let's go to the Quartering's tweet here. Wait, what? Is this the same article? They must have changed the title. They must have changed the title. Let's do a double check because I feel like this is the same post, different title. So let's do a search for Linda Yaccarino and see what pops up here. Yeah. Because this screenshot is from July 20th, which is today. And I see that here, July 20th. That's the only Yaccarino. Okay, so the Quartering has an old title. Linda Yaccarino will mute hate speech on Twitter to win back chirping advertisers. And that's why I hate some of these headlines, because as we read here, this doesn't say anything about that. So this isn't exactly what Linda's doing isn't exactly bad. It's just giving advertisers control over what they advertise under. And that's not bad. That makes sense. That actually entices me and Master Focus to, use the platform and see what those look like. Quartering says hate speech is free speech. What is going on here? We all know hate speech is just code for words we don't like. This is the same garbage as Twitter. Quartering with 280,000 followers on Twitter. Trying to see if there's any more. People should demand to see the offensive topics.txt files that feed the algorithms. Yeah, I would love to see what's in there. I would love to see what's in that TXT file. And here, Vanessa Harris, she applies some context. And this person says, this essentially is attempting to demonetize creators they don't like since Elon implemented revenue from ads in comment threads. I wouldn't call that demonetization. Because the My Pillow guy would probably prefer to advertise under some of that other stuff. So I wouldn't call that demonetization, although I could see how somebody's income based upon the new monetization program could be cut. Because you're giving advertising basically say we're only going to advertise under this type of content. I could see how that would chop into somebody's revenue stream, but it is what it is. Anyway, let's go back. Let's go back in the Grift bag, see what's going on here. What's going on? That seems to be like a nothing burger. I thought that was going to be something, and it's not. That's why you got to read the articles. You can't go by the headlines. You got to read the articles, because you read the headlines and it's just like, it's just, yeah. Let's pull this clip up. This is in regards to the Florida conversation we were talking earlier with Sonny, and we got a clip here. Let's play this clip.
In one breath, I want to.
Let me see if I agree with this black guy. Let me see if I agree with him. You kind of sense he's talking.
In one breath, I want to. I'm flabbergasted that the state of Florida is justifying slavery in 2023, but I'm also not surprised because this is the same department that said that studying African American history lacked educational value. The Florida Department of Education has set our state back years with the passage of this new education guidelines, which totally whitewashed African American history. And let me just start by acknowledging that slavery was not a benefit to the enslaved. And as a matter of fact, if we want to teach accurate African American studies, don't start our history at slavery. Talk about the land we were taken from, the land where we were kings and queens and owned land. I was a teacher for nearly a decade, and I can tell you, teachers are not indoctrinating students. Teachers are teaching what the truth is, which we should be teaching children when they come into the classroom. That's not wokeism. That's called history, and that's called facts. In one breath, I'm flabbergasted that the state of Florida is. Teachers are not indoctrinating. Don't start our history at slavery. Talk about this. Don't start our history at slavery. 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 Talk about the land we were taken from, the land where we were kings and queens and owned land from, the land where we were kings and queens and owned, the land where we were kings and queens and owned, the land where we were kings and queens and owned, the land where we were kings and queens and owned land, the land where we were kings and queens and owned land.
J Wink 80 says kings and queens didn't get taken from Africa. Oh man. Oh man. Okay, let's assume that's true. That's not the point. That's not the point. That's not the point that means, right? That's not what he's trying to say. What he's trying to say is, if black people were taken from Africa and they were taken from kingdoms, why don't we know about the kingdoms? Why don't we know about the great African empires? That's really what he's trying to say here. Don't just say, hey, your history starts at slavery. They came from somewhere. Those black people came from somewhere. And if the notion is that they came from Africa, then, tell that history. You got to tell that history. We was kings, damn it. We was kings. My take on the whole Florida situation is, I don't want white people teaching black history at all. At all. At all. I don't want DeSantis teaching it. I don't want Biden and them teaching it. Black history is something that needs to be taught by us. We need to set up those institutions and those platforms. And I think we do a very, very good job of teaching black history. I think the black community has done an excellent job of revising history and teaching black history. Diop, Clark, Yakinen, Akmos, Khamenei, Cress Wilson, Nellie Fuller, Jackson, is it John G. Jackson? John G. Jackson. Many people have contributed to Dr. Tony Blair. Many people have contributed to writing the wrongs of history. And we have access to this stuff. We have access. I mean, the videos exist free online on many YouTube channels. Sarnetta has a whole library of videos and debates with sources and scholarship. And we choose to try and draw our history from the public education system. And no matter who writes it, whether the left writes the history or the right writes the history, it's going to be wrong history. You can't depend on white people to tell black history, and black people can't depend on white people to teach them white history. I didn't depend on the public education system to teach me white history. The history I learned about white people has a ton of omissions. Tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of omissions. I had to seek that information out on my own outside of the classroom. To where now, when I speak to teachers and professors, they can't keep up with me. Many of them cannot keep up with me, especially the teachers. The professors do a better job. I've had conversations with professors and they've done a better job. They lack critical thinking sometimes, but they do a better job. They at least they have some of the facts and they're aware of certain things. And they'll even be honest and say, last time I tried to teach this, it threatened my job. I've had professors say shit like that to me. And like Thaddeus Russell is a professor who left the industry, right? Because they wouldn't let him teach certain things. But again, I just, history to me, unless you go to the institution as a major and say, hey, I want to major in this. Should history be taught? Yeah. Should we expect right history to be taught? Yes. We it's nothing wrong with being optimistic about that. But the fact of the matter is, these institutions are bought and paid for. So whatever's going to be taught depends on who's footing the bill. And honestly, when I send my kids to school, I don't want the teacher talking to them about black history. I really don't. I don't give a fuck if it's February or not. Do not talk to my child about black history. You're going to fill their heads with a bunch of bullshit. I pulled my kids out of homeschooling this year, and we went out to New York, and we spent the day with Shaka. We went to the Met. We went to Central Park, and we spoke about the tribes that occupied Central Park before Central Park was Central Park. And then we went inside the Met and got a nice history of ancient Kemet and all of its splendor. So that's my thing. You'll never catch me on TV saying, hey, we need to correct the history in the schools. You're going to hear me say, I don't give a damn, or let's take it out completely because it exists. And I'm going to point to all the sources where this information exists. And then people are going to be upset because I point to all the sources. That's why they don't have me on those conversations. Like MSNBC will never call me up because I'll be fucking around pointing out sources for days. And then they'll be like, well, there's no reason to go get history from DeSantis or Biden because Hotep just told us where to get this shit from.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
Let's go back in the bag. What else we got in here? All right, last subject, then we'll open up phone lines. Let's go here. I brought this up earlier with Sonny. I want to get Sonny's thoughts on this, and then I decided, you know what? I need a piece of this too. So in the middle of the interview, I had bookmarked this, put this in the Grift bag. Wait, hold on. I see somebody asking a question. You like people being taken from their land part, right, HJ? Or stolen or being round up? Do I like that? I don't think I like that. The word is conquered? Yeah. That's true. Conquered. I have a clip on here somewhere about how black people were conquered. Yeah, conquered is the correct term. Absolutely. Absolutely. Shaka spoke about that yesterday. All right, let's go back. What up? Brody in the chat. Tanai Rick's in the chat. Tanai Rick's probably in the lab right now cooking up something crazy. Organic chemist, mixing them chemicals. You know, he's a what do you call it? A real alchemist. He's a real alchemist. You know, people run around and say, "Oh, I'm an alchemist. I'm an alchemist." Couldn't tell you shit about the periodic table elements. Couldn't tell you a damn thing about the periodic table elements, what the numbers mean, or nothing. Yet here we are. Here we are. So a real alchemist. Shout out to Tanai Riggs. All right, let's look at this. It says here, socialism is the reason for black poverty. Now, I'll stop right there and I'll say correct. So far, we're doing really good. We're doing really good. Then he says the majority of black people, the majority of black Americans don't support free markets. And this is the problem I have. I have this problem right here. I have a problem with this. Let's go ahead and highlight that. The results are predictable. So then he's like, oh, these black people are predictable. Oh, my God. I knew it. That's basically, you know, race grifting for these different political parties. You know, everybody's race grifting. So Pew Research releases this paper, March 8, 2023. Black Americans view capitalism more negatively than positively, but express hope in black business. Now, this title is actually a decent title. It's much better than what the Libertarian Party offered us, Libertarian Party of New Hampshire. Because it points to a contradiction. That's why I like this title. It points to the contradiction. Because they say, on one hand, they view capitalism negatively, but they view black business positively. But without capitalism, you can't have black business. So let's dive in here and see what this article says. Black Americans have long had low wages, low household wealth. The roots of these problems trace back to slavery, segregation, discrimination. Today, most black adults say the U.S. economic system does not treat black people fairly. And though they are increasingly dissatisfied with capitalism, most black adults say supporting black business will help achieve equality. Supporting black business will help achieve equality. So they do understand that capitalism is important. So it says in an August 2022 survey, I'm going to click on that really fast. So here's the survey. So according to this poll, it looks like more people view capitalism positively than negatively. And it looks like they're dividing this up based upon time. Okay. Okay, here we go. Men, women, black. All right, age differences in views of socialism. Okay. And race, okay? So black. So very, very positive is actually slightly tipped in this in the ways of socialism, slightly. And somewhat they're saying socialism is more favorable than capitalism. It's interesting. It's interesting. Okay. Let's go back. So it says here 54% of black adults said they had a very or somewhat negative impression of capitalism, up from 40% in 2019. So it's up 40% since 2019. Okay. So what does that mean? Let's do the math here. If it's if it's at 54% and it went up 40%, what was the previous number? Anybody in the chat? Anybody in the chat could do the math on that and tell me what that number was for black people at that point? I know Rumble's going to get it faster because Rumble is ahead. But can somebody tell me what that number was prior? 54 minus 14. Should be really easy. While you guys type that in the chat, we'll go 4 in 10 black adults had a very positive, somewhat view of capitalism. Oh, I'm sorry. Up from 40%. I take that back. I take that back. So it was 40% previously, so it's a 14% increase. I take that back. I'm sorry. My bad. My bad. I'm reading this wrong. I was about to say, those are some disparate numbers. Okay, so it was 40% and then it went to 54%. So it seems like people are becoming, or black people in this case, are becoming more skeptical or have a negative impression of capitalism. That means at some point, the majority of black Americans, prior to May 19th, May 2019, 60% of black Americans had a positive outlook on capitalism. What has changed? What has changed? I wonder. And it says 4 in 10 black adults held a very or somewhat positive view of capitalism, down from 54% in 2019. Right? So it's at 57% prior had a positive outlook on capitalism. Views of capitalism also grew more negative among other racial and ethnic groups during this time period. But the movement was particularly pronounced amongst black Americans. In fact, the 2022 survey found that black adults were the only racial ethnic group more likely to view capitalism more negatively than positively, and the only group more likely to view socialism more positively than negatively. So the only group to view, hold on, let me highlight that. The only group to view capitalism more negatively than positively, and to view socialism more positively than negatively. What does that tell us? What do you guys think the cause of that is? What do you think the cause of those numbers is? Why do you think these numbers have changed so much? Isn't it obvious? Isn't it obvious what has caused these numbers to change so much? Black Lives Matter. For one, complete media indoctrination. Indoctrination of the schools. Where, once Trump became president, to call yourself a capitalist is basically to call yourself a right-wing radicalist. It's basically an attack on black people if you say these words. So, is it that black people truly view these things that way? Or is it that the term capitalism and the term socialism have become their own misnomers, where the people using these terms actually don't know what they mean? People using the term capitalism, you got to remember, capitalism is a term that was popularized by socialists. By socialists. In fact, I'd like to say that they created the term. We know we had Marx. He created the book Das Kapital, from the Latin word capitale, which means land and resources, which are real. Land and resources are very real things. It's not like you can just boogeyman your way and say that they don't exist or they're not important. They're absolutely important, land and resources. So we have to understand is these terms. Now, here's where the issue comes in. I'm going to show you. This is where the Libertarian Party makes a mistake. Libertarian Party says the majority of black Americans don't support free markets. And Sonny Johnson broke that down earlier because she said the most free of all the markets is actually the black market, the streets, the underground. There are no restrictions. There's no taxes or nothing down there. It's just everything goes. That's the true free market. Let's be honest. It's a true free market. We don't live in a free market society. America's not a free market society. Government has their hands on everything, right? As is the dream of Marx. So the government has their hands on everything. In fact, as I told you in my book, The Patriot Report, you can go get that on my website.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
I told you that. From the time you have a private central bank, you don't have a free market. The central bank sets interest rates. Is that a free market? Is that a free market? So if we were to look at modern capitalism, as some would deem it, and I'll run with that term for now. We look at modern capitalism. This includes Keynesian economics and price controls and Federal Reserve and the controlling of interest rates, the controlling of printing of the currency. Is that capitalism? Is that a free market? It's not a free market. It's not capitalism. It's not at all. So if the current system that we have in place today, modern capitalism, is the idea in black people's heads as to what capitalism is, it is no wonder they say, I have a negative view on this. It is no wonder. You should. Although I would have to argue and say what we see today is not capitalism at all. Now, the issue I have with the libertarian tweet is they say the majority of black Americans don't support free markets. And that's just false. And this is gaslighting, too. This is gaslighting of the black community by this libertarian account. This is gaslighting, It's uneducated, too, because if anybody should understand free markets, it should be the Libertarian Party. But actually, no, it's the Mises Caucus that really understands this stuff. Libertarian Party doesn't understand this stuff. It's really the Mises Caucus that understands this stuff, who happen to be libertarians. But you would know that we're not exactly in a system of free markets. Now, if the question for the Pew Research poll said, hey, black people, do you support free markets? And some of you might ask you, what is that? It's like basically the freedom of exchange of goods, price things how you want. You'd probably get a whole lot of people saying, yeah, it might tip the scales heavily, one-sided. But that wasn't the question. The question was loaded. That's a loaded question. You could never come to me and ask me and say, hey, Hotep Jesus, and let me go here with it. Hotep Jesus, do you like capitalism? My answer to you would be no. Depending on the mood you caught me in. If you caught me in a very rudimentary, ignorant mode, because sometimes I'm just a nigga, right? I'm just like, yeah, fucking capitalism. I'm a capitalist. And I'll say shit like that, and you'll hear me say, like, I'm a fucking capitalist. But I'm usually saying that within the context of a conversation. Now, if you catch me on a philosophical day where we're actually getting into the nitty-gritty of things, say, Hotep, do you like capitalism? I'm going, no, it's a pretty fucked up system. And Shaka talks about this. He talks about the inception of capitalism in ancient Kemet. From the time you coin money, you actually create the idea of poverty. So there is going to be an upper and a lower class that was created by Kemet. Mostly because I believe it sustains us in the ego. So we're getting to like a spiritual conversation now, where I believe that money keeps us in a very anti-spiritual state. Whereas I believe if everybody ascended to their highest self, there would be no need for money. There would be gross cooperation, global cooperation, if everybody operated at their highest self. Obviously, it's not possible. So therefore, the next best thing is capitalism. So if we put it like that, I would say the next best thing is capitalism. Due to the fact that humans have an ego, we have to figure out some way to distribute and share these resources and trade. And capitalism happens to be the best system for that. Now, if you go to school in the public school system, K through 12, 12 through 16, or university, especially if you go to a liberal university, a very one, a mild one, they're going to give a favorable take towards communists and socialists, particularly socialism. They'll call it democratic socialism. That's the moniker they hide under. But usually they'll give a favorable take on that and then try to deem capitalism as bad. So you're taught this K through 12. Then if you are unfortunate enough to go to university, or fortunate, depending on your major, you'll have that reinforced. So then when you come back and you ask people, do they like one system or another, you're not exactly asking people who have done the research that I and many others have done on these terms, the inception of these terms, these systems, and how they work. You're basically asking them a political question. This is a political question. Do you like capitalism or socialism? And it becomes a political question and no longer a economic question, a scientifically economic question. It is now a political question. And politically, you're going to get that type of answer from black people. And they love to stuff down our throats Huey P. Newton and the Black Panther Party and how they were communists, et cetera, to make it seem like because these kids, because that's what they were 20 years old running a Black Panther Party, these kids adopted this system that black people, because some kids decided to do this, black, willing and able and smart adults should too. No. I can have respect for the Black Panther Party and still recognize that they were fucking kids. And communism is not it. And the only reason why they were communists was because the communists were trying to infiltrate America and they provided funding. If I pop up tomorrow with the communist flag up, somebody cut the check.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
Okay, so when somebody comes around and cuts a check, usually they control the message. Let's reel it back in again. So you ask black people, do you prefer capitalism or socialism? But you're really asking them a political question based on something they have no idea about. Something that they've been brainwashed to believe otherwise. And then my problem comes back to the Libertarian tweet here, which says, majority of black Americans don't support free markets. Have you seen a free market? The person running that account has never seen a free market. The only way that the person in that account has seen a free market is if they was in the black market. If they was on the dark web. If you weren't on the dark web or you weren't in the black market, you've never seen free markets. You haven't. And a majority of people haven't. Majority of people have never been on the dark web or made a transaction on the dark web. They haven't downloaded the Tor browser or VPN or whatever the fuck. They don't keep their cash on an air gap computer or anything like that. This is not what's happening. So you've never even seen a free market, and you talking about you yourself that ran this account have never seen a free market, but you're talking about black Americans don't support free markets, when that's not what they said. And that wasn't the question either. The question was, what's your view of capitalism? And if your view of capitalism has been shaped by somebody other than you, through the massive media conglomeration between Hollywood and TV, advertising, and everything in between, and the Rockefeller Institution of Schooling, you probably have. I mean, I did at one point. At one point, I thought communism was a viable option. And I always tell people at that moment, because I'm never the person to pick up something and run with it unless I know what I'm talking about. So when people started talking about communism, before I called myself a communist, I gave it a real hard thought. I'm like, well, what does this look like? What does life look like without money? And how does communism work? And I started with something that would be a nicety. I wouldn't start with what you need. I mean, what are something nice to have? And the first thing I thought about was my PlayStation. And I said to myself, without money and capitalism, how would you facilitate the means and demand to create one and then distribute it? Who gets it first? Who gets the PlayStation first? That was my biggest issue. Who gets the first PlayStation? What do you do, a lottery? Because today it's the first person to hit the buy button. Or you do pre-orders, and then the company knows, okay, we have a certain amount of pre-orders, so that's what we're going to manufacture. And then I thought about, well, who's going to make the motherfucker? Because what if I don't feel like gluing transistors or whatever the fuck to some plastic casing to make the PlayStation go out? And the more I thought about communism and society without money, the less it made sense. So I left it alone for a really long time. Then I circled back and started studying. And I found out that, oh, communism is just a means of control. It's the result of fascism. Communism is the result of fascism. So you need fascism in order to really implement your communism. And then I always make the joke that I personally like communism as long as I get to be Stalin. If I get to be Stalin, I like communism. If I can't be Stalin, then I don't like communism. It's a very bad fucking idea. It's going to turn into a lot of people dying, a lot of people being oppressed, a lot of people being starved. But really all I'm really saying is I like totalitarian dictatorships. That's really what I'm saying. I'm not actually saying I like communism. Really what I'm saying is I like totalitarian dictatorships if I'm the dictator. But again, I come back and ask you, how many of these people in this poll have thought about these issues and have done the studies on these issues as much as I have? Very few. Very, very few. I would say I'll be generous and say less than 2%. Less than 2% have given these things this much thought and did the research. You have to do both. You can't just think about it. You also have to do the research too. So when I see something like this coming from the Libertarian Party, or this, I should say, Libertarian Party, New Hampshire, it just looks like race grifting. It's just race grifting, for clicks. Oh, these black people don't agree with us. The right take is, the correct take here from the Libertarian Party is, it's really sad that the left has done such a good job of controlling the education system that black people are disfavorable towards capitalism. That's what I would say. That's what I would say. But I wouldn't say something as ignorant as saying the majority of black people don't support free markets, because if that was the question, which it was not, you would find black people love free markets. Retro Neon said, how would you set up your economic system, HJ? Well, in order to understand how I would set up my economic system, you would have to understand how I would set up my governmental system. And the way I would set up my governmental system would be lots of advisors. I'd be a king or a dictator, and I'd have lots of advisors. And I would have two-party advisors, right? So instead of there being two parties, my advisors would exist on one side or the other, right? And the moment I feel that you no longer serve as a viable alternative, or even to keep one side honest, I'll fire you and bring somebody else in who can make better arguments, because I don't want to hear one-sided arguments. I want to hear both sides of the argument so I can find a middle ground and say, okay, here's how we're moving. So when it comes to economics, what my economic system would look like, I couldn't tell you. I'd have to consult my economic advisors. I would need Soul in the room. I'd be like, Soul, you're my economic advisor now. What do we do? And then I'd tell him if he's right or wrong, or if I agree or disagree, or I'd give him some pushback to really pull the juice out. And I think that's the issue, is sometimes people look at these problems and it's not their major or their expertise. They're not an expert in. Like, I would never say, hey, I'm going to be the dictator of science. I'd be like, no, I'll be the dictator of science, but I'm probably going to be consulting Project Rook and Tanai Ricks. Like, that's just what I'm going to do. But I'm not going to make any major decisions based upon my own personal knowledge. I would first defer to the experts. So I would need a group of experts, we'd have an election. I would have an election just for my next set of advisors, right? And I would set up all types of debates, and I'd want to see the documents they've written, and I'd want another set of advisors to read all their documents and bring me their notes. And it would be, it would take me at least my whole first 4 years in office, I would need just to figure out who the right advisors are. We wouldn't even get to work. I just need to find out who are the right advisors to be a part of my cabinet. And then we can start making decisions. But I would need 4 years just to try and like sort everything out. And then we can get to work. And maybe we can get one advisor in place and start moving things. So maybe we'll start with an economic advisor. But I tell you what, we definitely be running on crypto.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
My country would definitely be running on crypto. That's for sure. And I get a bunch of crypto advisors in to help me through all of that. And there's a lot to be said about inflating the currency too. Because some people say you need a fixed currency, and I'm just like, I can't really wrap my mind around that, because although resources tend to stay the same, services and other digital resources tend to grow, so the economy is going to expand. And I'm not exactly sure how that looks with the money. So we might need to print more to support the size of the economy. And I don't know what that looks like. Like I said, I would need some really strong economic advisors to come in and talk to me about this. Am I trying to go to North Korea? Hell no. Hell no. So my Step Colonel asked me if I would go to North Korea. He said, you don't need crypto. You just need a money based on something real. Jay Wink, you one of the people that just think you know everything, huh? You one of those people. You must be young. You're probably like 20-something. I was like that, too, when I was 20-something. I thought I just knew everything, and I thought everybody else knew nothing. And I had to speak every time somebody else spoke instead of listen. Money needs to be a unit of measure. Yeah, I know. We all know. I know. 43 and you still act like this? Oh, my God. You must be single then. Ain't no woman dealing with your ass. Damn, Jay Wink. We know how money works on this channel. We know it's a unit of measure. We know. But, and also I said, you don't need crypto. Well, your wife hates you. You got a wife, she hates you. I promise you, she hates you, man. She cries herself to sleep at night. You don't need crypto, just a money based on something real. Crypto is based on something real. I like it. I think it's fast. I think it works. I think it's a viable option. I think it's incorruptible and permissionless. That's what I like about it. It's permissionless, and it can be private too. Anyway, we going to the phone lines. 202-596-5631. 202-596-5631. Call in. If you fail to get in to the call lines, text me. Text me, 202-596-5631. 202-596-5631. I'll be right back after this short commercial break.
Yeah, I can try to get that handled for you. Again, it's only my second day, so if you can give me a second. How I'm supposed to do this? How the hell are we supposed to do this by 5 o'clock?
I have no clue.
Is that possible? Hey, do you have the password to... How'd you finish all your work already?
He's not tapped in. How'd you get that done so quick?
They think they're gonna be able to budget that?
It's money. That's money right there. You understand? You guys finished your work 6 hours early?
He's not tapped in.
Jonah Ryan on the check-in. Jonah, what up, bro?
Not much.
Nada. That's what you were supposed to say. Nada.
I always switch it up, you know. I got a good look. Let's go ahead and ask, do you know who Clinton Roosevelt is?
Who?
Clinton Roosevelt.
Clinton Roosevelt?
Like Bill Clinton. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't know who that is. School me.
It's one of the older Roosevelts. Now, he actually wrote a book called The Science of Government.
Okay.
About natural law.
Okay.
Now, that book's pretty much identical to Communist Manifesto.
Oh, wow.
The reason for that is because they both stole it from Adam Weishaupt.
Oh.
Adam Weishaupt.
Uh-oh.
You know how he came about? You know how he came about that?
Who? How Adam came about what?
All his beliefs?
I know he's like the leader or the godfather of the Illuminati.
Yeah. Jesuit.
That's where he got his stuff from? The Jesuits?
The Jesuit monk or Jesuit priest who was actually translating the Bible. He realized that usury is a mortal sin, and he decided to use it as a way to control human beings.
Oh, so then he said, oh, so this is a sin, then let me use usury to control people.
Yep. So the problem isn't money, the problem is usury. Now, we all know who Karl Marx's cousin was and who the Roosevelts are related to. So I won't go down that way. But now, the problem with using the word capitalism, the word did not exist in English until Karl Marx wrote it as a pejorative. So when you're using capitalism to describe anything, again, it's the power of words, right? So when you start with a pejorative to describe yourself, and I should take my own lessons because you always hear me call myself white trash and retarded. But when you start with a pejorative, you're already starting from a losing position. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely. I totally agree. And I should take my own lessons. I probably won't, but you know what I mean? I try not to do it. It's hard when it's like, when something becomes a part of your vocabulary, it's hard to undo that habit. Also because you need to communicate with people, and if that's the terms that they use, you have to use the terms that they use so they even know what you're talking about.
Well, it's like yesterday I was saying something. I called myself socially retarded, and this girl I know, she's like, stop calling yourself that. Like, you're putting yourself down. I'm like, no. I'm saying I'm socially retarded because of the society that's built it today. It's one I don't want to be part of it anyway. But, so, I mean, there's pros and cons to the way you use words, but also too, right? Like you said, there's a certain definition of society. Even if you change that definition, you still have that in the back, monkey brain of yours. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But anyway, like I say, the problem with capitalism is we're starting with Marx, who is, we're starting with his pejorative, which he is a cousin of the Red Shield family. They paid for him to write that book. That's fact.
They paid for who to write what book?
The Red Shield family.
Paid for him to write what book?
All his books. Marx is actually a cousin of the Red Shield.
Nah, he didn't write those books.
I know, but Adam Weishaupt wrote it. But I mean,
right?
He had to re.
I see what you're saying. They paid him to they commissioned him to put his little spin on it. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. It was not his concepts. Correct.
And his mother was like first cousin with the Lord.
With who?
His mother is the first cousin of the Lord of the family.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, right away you have like the Bacon family paying one of their cousins to give you an ignorant word to describe yourself.
Yeah.
And so you already lost the battle before you even got on the battlefield. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So that's the problem I have with that word, capitalism, because it was created as and then the other thing is too, they openly admit that they're going to use capitalism to get us to communism.
Correct.
So every way you use that word, you're losing the battlefield before you even get to the battle.
Correct.
No.
Anyway, good stuff, man.
Hotep and Bill.
Hotep and Bill. Jonah gonna come with that 10-4 kufi. His kufi on tight. Papa Hotep, you like my chain, man? This shit's sexy, bro. Girls like my chain. You know what I'm saying? Swag. You like that caller, Resuscitato? Yeah, Jonah's always on point, man. He's usually on point, yo. What is this? Okay. Okay, I see some missed calls here. I think that's Rudy and whoever this is. Text the number 202-596-5631 to get in line. Rudy, you can call in now. We got you. If you guys want to get in line for a phone call, text me 202-596-5631. In the meantime, if you want to support me, go to trymasterfocus.com. Hit the link in the description box below. It's probably your best bet. You hit the link in the description box below. It will automatically apply a discount for you. I'll show you. Discount will automatically be applied. Let me see. You'll hit the buy now button. Hold on, here come Rudy.
Call from
Rudy the Vet.
Rudy!
What up, H?
What up, bro?
What up, HJ? I'd like to give a shout out to Jonah Ryan, the only fucking Canadian that I respect. The rest of them can eat a big fat sack of paws. What's going on?
Life is good, man. Talk to me, man. How's the road treating you?
First of all, I'm gonna choke Cannon when I see him, dude.
Why?
Because he was talking about doing them thermo burn sets last night, and I was like,
the
man,
what?
I need down the thermo burn. When he's talking about doing a set, jumping on a cardio bike for 30 seconds, getting off doing a set, jumping back on the bike, going hard for 30 seconds. You know what I'm saying? When he's lifting,
yeah.
he like said it's called a thermal burn, dude. And I ain't done one in about a year. I'm in here now about to fucking die. I'm going to kill Cannon for even putting that thought in my head.
He's like, oh, that's a good idea. Let me try that in the gym tomorrow.
Gonna kill Cannon. My only thing with that poll is these people are so fucking stupid. We all know polls lie. Where was that poll taken, dude? Where was that poll taken?
Well,
man?
it's not about where the poll was taken.
It is, brother. It is, because if you walk around a college campus taking that fucking poll, you're gonna get the results you want.
Well, it was different
You're
ages.
gonna get
So it wasn't just a college campus.
I just know these polls, man.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. You're not wrong, right? You're not wrong.
All the polls.
I mean, here's the thing. You're not wrong, right? What I'm saying is, what's more gross than cherry picking a population is rigging the poll before it even gets to the population.
Okay, listen, everything you said about it, I fucking agree with to start with. But every time I see a poll, you know what I'm saying? They're like, new poll show this, and then I look down, it's like 1,000 people polled. Yeah. That's not a fucking stuff. You can't scale 1,000 people to 330 fucking million, you jackasses. Right. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. There's such a diverse view in 330 million, so I take a poll with a grain of salt, bro. And then I really want to know is where the fuck are you talking to these people at, man? You know, what are you walking down D.C.? Was the poll taken in Washington, D.C.?
Right.
Was the poll taken in New York? You know what I'm saying? Or was the poll taken in fucking North Carolina? Or was the poll taken in fucking New Jersey? Was it taken in Newark, New Jersey? You know what I'm saying? Where was the poll taken, dude? Was it in a leftist stronghold? Because you're going to get the result you want every time, man. How many people were polled doesn't scale up on these fucking polls that all of these fake-ass fucking news media people put out, man.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
And so for the Libertarian Party, just to be they got some sharp fucking ideas and some sharp individuals. For you to take the fucking bait and put some dumb shit out like that makes me question y'all, man. Makes me question y'all's fucking intelligence, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And look, I know this is old, but old boy that said colored people, that congressman the other day, you know what I'm saying? He was an ex-Navy SEAL, and that whole fucking debate in that Congress was about the wokeness of the military. And you had every combat veteran that's in Congress now, even punk-ass Dan Crenshaw, even though I can't stand them, and they're all politicians now, so I got to hold them to a thumb. But, you know, the saying in the Army was, there's no color here but green, goddammit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm on some shit like you are, man. I think everybody 18 that's not medically, everybody should have to serve. That way you force every race into a unified fucking position of accomplishment, and then people could get over the little fucking hiccups they have with one another. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I think every American, 18 to 20, your ass should be locked into service, man. Service of the country, and then, you know what I'm saying? Ain't no black, white, brown, yellow. It's all green in that motherfucker, and we're gonna work for a common goal. And you might fucking get a little bit of the fucking hate out of the people and bring back a little bit of the fucking, bring back some cohesiveness and some unity, man.
Yeah.
But that's all I got to say, brother. I love you, man. Love to chat, man. I'm about to get
I want
back
to talk
on this
about that
workout.
last point you made. Oh, you about? Yeah. Let me let you back to the workout.
No,
I'll talk
go
to
ahead,
you.
go ahead.
No, get back to your
go
workout.
ahead.
I'll talk to you through the stream.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you tell Cannon, man. Man, that motherfucker put a bad idea in my head, man. I'm fucking dying right now.
I'm gonna let him know.
It's
You
a good
probably
idea,
listening
though,
too.
because it's something different I ain't done in a while, man. I used to do them back in the day, but I was like, man, I ain't done that forever.
Yeah.
Man, I'm fucking dying. I'm dying right now, bro. I'm dying right now. Cannon, you bastard, you. All right, man. I love y'all, man. Hotep and Bill, man.
Hotep and Bill. Cannon workout get you in shape for real. That's one of my workouts I got for Uncle Hotep is that style. It's one of them non-stop jump offs. That's what Unc need. I'm gonna kill Unc when I see him. As soon as we do our first, actually I'm not even gonna kill him on the first workout, because the first workout I really just want to see where his fitness at. So the first workout is just a fitness test, really. I want to see a fitness test, because the shit he doing right now, that ain't fitness. So I'm gonna tighten him up with a fitness test. That's what the first workout's gonna be, just to see where he at. And then I could put together a program for him. I could put together a program for him and shit based upon his fitness level. It's cool if I'm not. I was supposed to be on ATB today, but I wasn't supposed to be on ATB today, so I'm trying to figure that out. I just told the producer I was available today. I don't know if they booked me for today, but that's at 5, which means I have to go at 4:45. But I told him, I said, I don't think I got an email from Drew, and it's cool if I'm not on the show today. I don't mind. Do not feel like you have to include me. Kevin, welcome to the show, man.
Yo, what's up?
What's happening, bro?
Man, I like what crypto's become if they can keep it encrypted, and as far as people getting into it and stuff and controlling people. But I don't like where it started at. I believe that it was initially started just after the 2008 crash, because the crypto, or if everybody would have taken their money out and put it in gold, it would have became unfathomable as far as how expensive gold would have been, and I don't think we could have bounced back from it. I think it started from a bad point, but it could be going to a good point.
I'm gonna show you where it came from right now. Do you know where it came from?
I know the original Bitcoin guy that nobody knows who he is, Satoshi.
Yeah, Satoshi Nakamoto.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That nobody really knows who he is. That goes back to that kind of leads me back to where they brought in the Federal Reserve, and they all pretended to go against it, even though they designed it. Publicly, they all said, oh no, this is terrible, we don't like this, and you can't have control over our banks. And then quietly they're saying, okay, everybody vote for this, guys. This is our control mechanism.
Yeah.
That's why I don't like the dishonesty of crypto and not knowing who Satoshi was. And
yeah, I mean, I always assume the worst, right? So when it comes to, who created Bitcoin, I just go ahead and assume the Illuminati controls it. They created it, let's just go right there. We can try and believe in the fantasy of Satoshi Nakamoto, and, some other dude claims he's Nakamoto, and, it's a fun thing to do. I'm with all that too,
yeah,
because I don't fucking know.
If they can keep it unregulated by the governments and the rich and elite, and keep it as far as digital and encrypted, then yeah, it can become a good thing and something we can work with in the future as a store of value and wealth. Because if it all, like I said, if all our money would have went into gold back in 2008, I don't think we'd been able to bounce back with the price, how much the price of gold would have become. It would have affected nations all across the world because how much money that would have went into gold, it would have raised the prices so high.
I think the difference between gold and crypto and Bitcoin is the fact that I know how much Bitcoin is actually out there. I can go look it up. Gold, they're like, oh, we think it's about, so it's just like, well, how much of that market is being manipulated? Although Bitcoin is probably being manipulated as well. But at least I know how much Bitcoin is actually out there. So if I want to do my own valuation, I probably could.
Yeah. We also know that silver is like rare right now, and it's going into electronics and everything else, and they're artificially keeping the cost of that down.
Well, yeah, they've been doing that for centuries.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a chapter in my book about that.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
Really what we're talking about here is the SHA-256 algorithm, secure hash algorithms. And Bitcoin, I believe, runs off of 256 or one of the SHA-2s, I think it is. I think it runs off one of the SHA-2s, SHA-256. Here we go. Yeah, so this is like the algorithm that this runs off of. And it says right here, it says secure hash algorithm is a set of cryptographic hash functions designed by the United States National Security Agency. So the algorithm itself, as it says here, was first published in 2001. Algorithm itself, but I think is it these guys? It's the dude's names you really got to know. Is it, okay, here we go. Was it Ralph Merkel and Ivan Damgard? I got to ask Cyprian again.
Merkel sounds familiar.
You gotta go and, you got to take Cyprian's course, Bitcoin Mystery School, bitcoinmysteryschool.com. You got to take his course because he was talking about this in his course, and he basically pointed it back to, like I think it's these two dudes, Ralph and Ivan right here. And these guys are really like the brains behind, like it says right here, it says in cryptography, the Merkle-Damgard construction or Merkle-Damgard hash function is a method of building collision-resistant cryptographic hash functions from collision-resistant one-way compression functions. This construction was used in the design of many popular hash algorithms such as MD5, SHA-1, and SHA-2.
Yeah, my only argument against it is if everything comes down or we go back to Stone Age or Africa where
that's heavy.
Where they don't have electricity too much.
Oh, that's heavy.
Then
they had see, that's the thing, they tell you they ain't got refrigeration. We had refrigeration and AC in ancient times.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
The natives in South America got AC. The motherfuckers in the jungle got AC. These motherfuckers construct their huts so that when winds blow at certain times of year, it sends a breeze right through the motherfucking house. They digging these holes in the ground with no ice and using it as refrigeration. I don't know how these motherfuckers are doing it, but this is ancient technology. So we've always had this. So if we go back in them times, we just got to be prepared for it,
Yeah, I'm just saying I've lived without electricity for a year or so here and there, and other than my cell phone, for the most part, I'd have been broke if my cell phone was dead or whatever, and all I had was crypto.
I would still be alive. I'm ready for the end of the world. Some of these motherfuckers can't survive. I can survive.
Oh, I agree. And a lot of these guys don't as many babies they kill, they don't deserve to survive.
Right. I'm gonna survive. I ain't worried about that. Everybody needs to have a motherfucking. You need a water filter. You need to know how to build a water filter. As long as you can do that, strike up some fire.
I can do that, and I can walk through the woods and eat like a king.
Yeah.
My grandpa was a Cherokee medicine man.
What's the best place to loot in the end of the world?
I'm going to my local forest. I don't want to fight with food with nobody.
What if you was the
I'm
first
going where
person?
nobody
What if
knows
you could have been
food.
like the first group there? Like, let's say you had a legion, and you were, what would you like to be close by that you could loot first? You could loot anything, any store, Walmart, McDonald's. You could loot any of these things with zero resistance. What would you loot?
I'm hitting the gun store.
Damn! Tell him how you feel. He said I'm looting the gun store.
Cheeseburger.
I like that answer. I like that.
Grabbing
answer.
armor and guns.
Armor and guns. Shit.
Which I've already got quite a bit, but you can't never have enough.
Nope.
If you know it's going to be a while before you're going to be able to get resupplied with ammo, I'm going to be stocking up.
I'm going to call you up. Say, yo, I'm on my way over. I told you I'm a survivor.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
Listen, I'm gonna hit the gas station. You know what I'm saying? I'm coming with barrels of motherfucking gasoline. We loading up the truck. I need a gasoline truck. Cause I'm gonna be selling gasoline for food, motherfucker. You're gonna see me popped up. I'm gonna have.
That ain't gonna last for too long, but
you said what?
The gas for food ain't gonna last too long if they ain't making no more of it.
No, it's gonna be a lot of people that's gonna need to get around.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because when they shut down them electric cars, what you gonna do? That's why I keep telling people I don't fuck with these new cars. I need them gas cars. I'm telling you, in the future, gas cars are the shit. People like, oh shit, you got a gas car?
Well, that, and you can switch them over to wood like they do in South or North Korea right now.
What?
Yeah, wood gasifiers. North Korea runs their big trucks and shit on wood gasifiers.
What the fuck is that?
It's literal. I mean, you take and you put like trimmings from your yard into a wood stove that has only one place to bleed off for oxygen. You start a fire in it, and it goes up, and after it gets hot enough, you can literally light that flame, and then you put it out, and you run it into an engine, and your engine will run off of that.
And I could put anything back there?
Like clippings from your yard or wood, small trim.
Wood, yeah.
You can't put big blocks, but kiln-dried pallets, great for it.
A wood gas generator is a gasification unit which converts timber or charcoal into wood gas. A producer gas consistent of atmospheric nitrogen, carbon monoxide, hydrogen, and traces of methane and other gases which, after cooling and filtering, can then be used to power an internal combustion engine for other purposes. Wow.
Yeah, FEMA has plans on the website how to build them, how to basically like water heaters and stuff like that.
Historically, wood gas generators were often mounted on vehicles, but present studies and developments concentrate mostly on stationary plants. Oh, so you could throw this motherfucker on a vehicle and still be moving.
Throw it on a vehicle. You can throw it on your generator to keep your house powered.
Yo, Tanai, you know how to build one of these? Tanai know how to build one of these, and we're going to call Tanai like, yo, we need a gasification chamber, bro.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
I told you I was a survivor.
Like I said, FEMA plans. You look up on the FEMA website. You get the plans. I got them downloaded, printed out, and started building one.
Oh, yeah? Oh, that's dope. That's dope. That's dope. You should build that, man.
They work better with the old 1960s vehicles, though, where you can control it without electronics.
I get what you're saying.
60s, 70s motors.
Yeah, but did you have power steering?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I think the pulleys will run.
As long as you got power steering, you'll be all right.
Yeah, it's like 75% of the horsepower of what gasoline has, but it'll get you down the road 60, 70 mile an hour, no problem.
Okay, as long as we can outrun a bear, I'm good.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm good. Hey, man, I appreciate you calling in, bro.
All right. Appreciate it. Hotep and Bill.
Hotep and Bill. I like that caller. Like that caller. He ready. He ready. He gonna survive. Somebody texted me. Call in, man. Call in. You over here texting me a whole paragraph. You better super chat that shit. Super chat that shit. All right, we got somebody here said they want to get on the call list. What up, yo? 313, go ahead. 313, call in. 313. 313. Gasification, see? See, people think I be playing around on this platform. I be giving niggas that big brain content. You get smart on this channel. You get real smart watching this shit. Natasha said, oh, we can text you. Yeah, you can text that number, 202-596-5631. It takes text messages. We got text messages. I'm reading text messages as we stream. Absolutely. How many missed calls we got? All right, I see y'all. I see y'all too. Hurry up and get in here. Pause. Hurry up and get in here. There you go.
Call from Sister Otis. To accept.
Sister Otis, what up?
Hey, Hotep Jesus.
What up?
Okay, I'm watching your lips move on the screen here and hear your voice, I think.
You said you're on the street?
No, I was watching your lips move on the screen because I've got the TV muted.
Oh,
Am I
I'm
live
on the
right
screen.
now, honey? Yeah. Am I live right now, honey?
Yo, your volume's loud. I want to hear your voice. I can't hear it. It sounds so distant.
Okay, let me try to get this. Maybe that sounds a little better.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, I'll stay close. I just want to say it's interesting. You guys are talking about history today, right? And
Yeah.
I think I first discovered you on the Alex Jones show when you did that whole Starbucks thing.
Okay, yeah.
And then, yeah, that was great. And then,
Thank you.
And then I saw you on the Joe Rogan show.
Yeah.
And on that show, you led me on a journey because you started talking about the history of the original Americans and the original Caribbeans, the Caribs, and talking about the slave trade and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you just made light bulbs go, and that kind of sent me on a journey to, then Dane Calloway and all this different American history. So the debate is like, what should we teach in schools? But we don't even know what the real history is.
Well, I think that's the issue. What we should teach in schools should come down to math and science. The rest of the philosophies need to be community driven.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Youth groups,
that makes
youth
so
groups.
much sense.
I mean, look at how the religious groups do it. They have youth programs. Almost nightly there's something for the youth in the religious world, right? So don't depend on the school to have these things. Let's start creating them in our own community, in our own family.
Right, because the government and
the government's just going to corrupt it,
and they always have. And
Correct.
it doesn't mean just this government, every government.
Right.
Because like what was popular 30 years ago, when I was in high school, they'd kick your ass for being gay. Now you'll get your ass kicked if you're not okay with gay. And that's how much the world has changed in front of my eyes, except one thing hasn't changed. There's somebody still getting their ass kicked because they don't think like everybody else.
Also true. Correct. Good point. Great point.
And that's the point, and that's the real point, and that unifies all of us. Because the majority of people in every group have a majority that thinks one way, and they always ostracize the new thinker. Then the new thinker leads a whole group of that eventually become the group thinks, and then they do make all the mistakes that the last group made when they were in power.
Yep.
Like Plato said, and this is what, 2,500 years ago, Plato said, every king springs from ancestors of slaves. And every slave has kings and their ancestors. And Plato said that 2,500 years ago. This is the history of mankind. And so if we want to get down to the truth, I think there's like one thing that we can agree on for spiritual people is that there is only one God, And that one God made all of his children. And we are all cousins. We're all brothers and sisters. All of us. All of us. And this is we always have to talk about the left, the right, the black, the white. But the real truth, nobody hardly ever talks about the real truth, is we got one God the Father, and we are his children. And that higher truth is the one that always really gets buried, that will bring us all together. Because you can see in every group, I want to comment on that. Sonny was saying, at what point in American history did whites ever push for, what was it?
Well, who pushed for what?
Oh, hold on. Let me see. When was the time in American history when whites willingly pushed for
black rights? Yeah.
Right. And that right there, there's a minority of thinkers, really, of every group, and it's actually the minority of the thinkers. And there was a minority of the thinkers in this country, the abolitionist movement. John Brown was out there killing slave owners. That's how serious he was about it. The original Cassius Clay was an abolitionist, and he set up cannons in his house with dynamite and guns, fighting for the end of slavery, because all the slave owners and the really rich and powerful people that lived in his area were trying to assassinate the guy left and right. The story of Cassius Clay is amazing. It's an amazing story. And if we don't tell each other's stories, if everyone that is the group of the thinkers, the minority of the thinkers, the spiritual people, if we all unite regardless of race and all that stuff, and we start telling each other stories, because the Lakota have this awesome tradition in their tribe, is that you don't ever talk about yourself. You don't hype yourself up. It's your friend's job to hype you up. So we all together, all of us together, tell each other stories. So I see there we go. There's Cassius Clay. And this guy's story is amazing. And why I didn't learn about Cassius Clay until I was a grown ass person.
Mm-hmm.
And he was assassination attempts. This guy took bullets, he took knives. He was brawling crazy. He started the first interracial university,
mm-hmm.
which still exists to this day.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the name of it. I'm sure you can find it there. And if we celebrate the real heroes, which has nothing to do with race or sex or sexuality, but people with the heart, the true heart, you celebrate that in everybody, then we see what there is to thrive for and to strive for. And we make music, beautiful music about each other. And I think there's so many people that actually believe like that, but the grift is to talk about white, to talk about black, this is what obviously makes a lot of money.
Right.
Makes a lot of money for a lot of people. And then we all get caught up in talking about their narrative.
Correct.
That they created.
Yep.
Like capitalism was coined, that's a term coined by Karl Marx.
Right.
And what have they got us doing now? They got us all talking about capitalism. When the real deal is free market.
Correct.
That's the real thing.
They don't use that term.
That's the real thing. Yes. But again, the leftists have got us saying, the leftists got us saying capitalism. Now I'm talking about capitalism. And everybody in America refers to ourselves as capitalists. Why would we do that?
Mm.
Capitalism from the very get was considered a negative, evil thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we see with the corporations, which is not in a free market, would not exist. No such thing as a corporation would exist in a free market.
Mm.
So it would be so homegrown, and that's what we need. Because what's better? What is it better to be, dependent or independent? Independent.
Interdependent.
And then interdependent. If you're a thinking person at all, you've got to be, right? Unless you just want to live on an island by yourself, which would be no fun.
Yeah. No fun.
No fun at all.
Yeah.
So with free market would create, you know, where people in their own communities would be making. Well, let's just look at what we went through with the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
We don't make anything anymore. How many months did it take for them to start making masks? Remember that? There was no masks. Nobody could buy them. They were all out.
Yeah.
It took months and months for them to be able to turn the factories around. But in a free market, everybody would be making things for their community right here.
Mm-hmm.
And for any of the environment people out there, one tanker ship from China to the United States of America is the equivalent of something like 50 million CO2 from 50 million cars or something crazy like that. It might even be higher.
Mm-hmm.
Tanker fuel is the worst kind of fuel. So not only are we supporting modern day slavery, we're using China's slave labor right now. The United States is using right now. We're also, all that gas and all the tankers and all this, look how much we're hurting the environment, and which goes to show it's another thing set up by the controllers.
Mm.
So they say environmentalism, they push that, but they never talk about their tankers. They never, if there was a real environmentalist movement in this country, we would stop making things in plastic. No more plastic water bottles. When I was a kid, there wasn't all this plastic. I mean, 30 years ago, there was no all plastics, all this crazy plastics that are poisoning the world right now in the water. So wouldn't that be the first, like, smart move to do? Like, if you're going to be a thinking person, wouldn't you say, well, hey, seems to be like there's poisons everywhere that are poisoning everybody's body, they're feeding the fish. It's probably not a good idea. That's, like, so simple. I don't know. I'm hitting a bunch of different subjects. I've been watching you for a while.
Well, here's the thing. Because plastic has always been something that has rubbed me wrong. Always, you know, from the time I was a thinking man, I was like, wait, I don't really like these things. I never really particularly liked it, especially when I understood alternatives like hemp plastic, right? Which can be constructed to be biodegradable as opposed to this chemical thing coming out of DuPont, you know what I mean? Or whatever fucking company manufactures these bottles, because they run the chemical companies, you know? So and then when I heard the story of how, you know, those families lobbied the government to change the rules, that was really my first peep into, you know, we don't really live in a capitalist system. It's motherfuckers that's cheating, and they're using government to do that.
Right.
You know, they're using government to hold the rest of people back.
Right. And while they're doing that, they're holding up slogans and woke banners trying to act like they're the ones that are pushing environmentalism in the world, or
virtue signaling.
You know, what say it again?
Virtue signaling.
Yes. Yeah.
But
in a huge corporate way. I mean, look at and because I know we, as a community, as a group of people, from what everything we see, we start doing too. But the corporations, look at Victoria's Secret. They have the Victoria's Secret models, Amazons, like these beautiful women that nobody looks like them. It's not just, I want me represented. Nobody looks like these women. They're like Amazons, beautiful, right? Well, when that guy that owns, I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but the dude that owns Victoria's Secret found out that he still gave Jeffrey Epstein his mansion in New York City. That big ass mansion he was living in was the owner of Victoria's Secret. So these people are all getting ahead of. He gets found out. What does he do? He fires the Amazons, and he starts showing women that look like everyday women or whatever. Which, whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm not pro or against any of that, but I'm just saying, look at the behavior. And so he's like, oh, yes, I'm fighting for women's rights. Bitch, you were sex trafficking women and children. You were part of that. They're getting ahead of it. All these corporations. And when the corporations are helping the government lie to the people, that's called fascism. And when those two things come together, the fascism and the corporations and the fascism, and also whether it's the industries and the government working together, or the government takes over the industries and it just becomes one monolithic, monopoly of control, And then, but they are doing it in a loving and kind way. We're going to set you free. No one will own land. Oh, you mean like the serfs? Because all the people that came from Europe, most quote unquote white people, what that's just a made up fucking word too, right? But most of the Europeans that came over here 35 years, started coming here 35 years after slavery had ended.
Yeah.
They came over, and there was, and so most of the people now that are considered like white people in America don't even have any roots in any of this game. Nothing. That's the majority of the people. Nobody tells that story. Like, let's all talk about it. Where do we come from? Oh, shit. Well, after slavery ended, they needed the new slaves, so they shipped all the poor ass. And a lot of people were considered undesirable. Georgia was a penal colony. And that was in the late 1800s. Some of the first poor ass white people that started showing up, quote unquote, white, because the term white was invented again after Jamestown. In Jamestown, when they had the what do you call it, Bacon's Rebellion.
Jamestown, Virginia. That's the Whiskey Rebellion.
No, it's called Bacon's Rebellion.
Bacon's Rebellion. Yes.
And Bacon was like an highfalutin dude from Europe. He comes over to the New World, and he's like, all these generations, we're talking generations of so-called white, so-called black, and called native people who had all intermarried and had children. And they were indentured slaves, and they were promised land and money if they got if they worked so long for the trade companies.
It's like
right?
a contract. It's like a contract. You locked in for a certain period of time, and then you get out.
Exactly. And when they got out, they got some money and they got some land. Well, guess like just all the beautiful writing that's always in those contracts, they don't tell you that land's like in the middle on the outskirts where you have no protection. And now you're descendants of Indians, so-called black, so-called white, and you're all but you're a group. That's your family. That's your friends. That's your neighbors. And so you've got all kinds of different people coming raiding, trying to steal your chickens, trying to steal your cows. And they weren't getting no protection. So the contract on that one was just bad deal.
Yeah, you get bad. You get a raw deal.
Right. So Bacon got everybody together and said, "Hey, we got to defend ourselves. We have the right to defend ourselves. That's our cow. That's our chicken." And the establishment, the fur traders, the European fur traders were like, "Look, man, you guys are messing with our business. We're here to do the fur, baby. We want the fur. We don't care about your land. We don't care about your, anything like that." And then that Bacon's Rebellion chased the I can't remember the main dudes. They burned Jamestown to the ground. Burned Jamestown to the ground. And they took over. And then they started defending themselves and defending their property, their food, their resources, because they knew that the government didn't care about them. These traders and furs was all about money and not about real life. So they worked hard for this land. And then of course, the British send over a bunch of troops and then they murder all the main leaders, and then they start making examples of everybody, and then they create the word white. And that's when it shows up in the history books for the first time, that word white. And it created a divide on which you had all kinds of different shades, didn't you? Because everybody had been intermarrying, and everybody's family, cousins and uncles all looked a little different from each other, And so that's where the division started, and man, they got it good. And now they get us in every damn group, Every way they can flip us, man against woman, gay against straight, gays against trans against robots. I don't know what's going to be next, but it's going to be something. I have no idea, but it's the playbook. So the True Heart Society people got to come together and tell each other stories. And if we don't tell each other stories, it's just going to be, oh, the slave becomes the king, and then that becomes a slave, and what if it probably will. So it comes back. I hope that, you know what I mean? It's like, when is this? It's not going to be like, we just got to keep on being at least a balance in the world, a light for people to come to. Lift each other up, tell each other stories, and be, it sounds so corny, but it's so real, be the change. Do it. You know, and find the people that you love to do it with, and do it with them, and make more of us, and make more community. And, you know, they've turned all these true ideas into some kind of cliche and some kind of goofy ass banner of some sort, and they've taken over the real good stuff. They've taken it over. You got to get back down to the essence of that. That's what I think.
I like it. I like it.
Can I get an amen?
A motherfucking man. Matter of fact, we're going to hit you with one of these.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, I appreciate you calling in, love.
Come on, baby.
Yeah, you shot out. What's your name?
Otis. Everybody calls me Sister Otis.
Sister Otis.
Yes, sir.
Sister Otis
man,
on the check-in.
I got some good music too, and I got this song that I think would be great for a podcast or a show.
Yeah, send it to me.
And the chorus,
text me the link.
Chorus, I will. And the chorus for it is, I didn't do it. It wasn't me.
Okay.
I think there could be some funny segments where you can play that song. I'll send it over to you, and lots of love. Hotep and Bill, love you guys. Thank you.
All right, Hotep and Bill. She's a nice lady. She's a nice lady. Tari, hurry up, man. Hurry up, Tari. You always late, man. My old Hoteps be late. Get in here. Hurry up. I got 3 minutes, man. I got to go do this other show. Nick hit me back. Said it's time to shake. Pause. What we talking about? Let's see. On ATB. I don't even know if I'm allowed to share this with you. We talking about Bitcoin block times. Is it fast enough? On Twitter, any complaint is met with mocking, derision. Oh, tell me you don't understand Bitcoin without telling me you don't understand. Is a concern for further valid criticism. All right, here go Tari.
Call from.
Sorry.
Tari, what up, man?
Yo. My bad, man. My bad. I be having meetings and stuff, you know. Can't get it.
If it wasn't you, I'd have turned the phone lines off. What's good with
it? But you know what? Last time Sonny was on, I wanted to mention something.
Okay.
And it just happens to kind of coincide with the topic we was talking about, so I kind of like this, right? Kind of coincide with what Shaka was talking about yesterday and everything, too.
Yeah.
In the background of Sonny, I see an anime poster. Now, this normally would be irrelevant, right? But I don't know if you ever heard of One Piece.
Yeah, I have.
This is why I want to talk to Sonny about that poster. I wonder why she has it there. I know she says she likes cartoons and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
But there's a specific thing about One Piece that I'm a big fan of it. And the more I got into it, I realized that the entire story places the world government as the main villain. And the goal of the main character is to become the quote-unquote pirate king.
Yeah.
But what the original pirate king did was he essentially got to this island that they didn't want anybody to get to. He found some old information they didn't want him to have, and they had him executed.
Who's they?
Like,
who is they?
The world government.
Okay.
Yeah. So and there's like they got their own version of the CIA and everything. Like they got their own. the world has been created. That's the thing I like about the series or whatever so much, is that they created like an entire world. But if you look at it, it's actually not an entirely different world. Like, a lot of it is really based on a lot of the stuff we be talking about. And old history, because they kind of rewrote history after that, and nobody knows about it. And they got this, we talk about the language and everything, not knowing the language and everything. So the way that they found this information was these things called poneglyphs, right? Which you would compare to like an old tablet. And like if you want to, you probably heard of Yu-Gi-Oh before, right? You know how they had those cards and everything, but if you look at the ancient Egypt reflection of it, they say that they originally started as like, ancient tablets and whatnot.
Okay.
So it's kind of in the same realm as that. Like these stone tablets with carvings in them that only certain people can read.
Yeah.
And only archaeologists can read them.
Okay.
Right. That's one of those things that is another interesting thing about the story, is that this one island, they completely destroyed the island because these people had figured out how to translate it. And those little poneglyphs exist in a bunch of places and have like information about, ancient weapons and stuff too.
Okay.
So it's a whole lore. And that's why I said it, a lot of it maps on to what we got going on in our world. Right? A lot of stuff that, we research a lot of stuff, we find out, we're like, oh, shit. They've been doing a lot of the stuff that people talk about a long time. Like the RFK talking about, the possible bioweapons and stuff like that. Like, look, they've been talking about bioweapons for a long time. I mean, we even had a story, people say it didn't happen, but the whole, giving Native Americans SARS, blankets and stuff like that. It's like the idea has been there before. And we're like, oh, well, we can, if they're not used to it, we can target people with things like this. And in the past, who knows what kind of technology they had? We know they weren't dumb. They figured out how to smelt. They had great weapons of war. They created boats, all kinds of things. So, we'd be foolish to assume that it wasn't something similar going on in our past. That's why I think a lot of that stuff is interesting. And like Shaka was saying, they will put it right in front of you, right? And people won't see it. Because it's just in that show, you won't see it, but it's right in front of you. They put that history right in front of you.
That's the best place. That's the best place to hide something.
Yeah. And then people will think, being conspiracy theorists or reading into stuff when you say stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's the kind of stuff people need to look at.
Yeah.
But I have one more thing sort of related to that too I want to tell you about.
Okay.
It's really like another person I want you to talk to.
All right.
It's only probably only second to you. He might even be above you in some areas, just because he like his grift is different. And some of the people he have on, some of the people he talked to, you need to check out his channel. You probably heard him, Andreas Zertis.
Who?
Andreas Zertis.
No.
Yeah, he loved talking about the history and stuff. Like one of his main things is, I don't know if you heard of Tartaria.
Yeah.
If you look at old maps and stuff, you'll see certain places labeled as like, Tartary and things like that.
Yeah.
Star forts and all that kind of stuff. He loves all that. And more than that, he has tons of people on his show that love to talk about history and a lot of stuff that Shaka talked about. But some of them might even have, different information. Like you talk about, you had your boys talking about the tribes that inhabited Central Park before they were aired. A lot of the people he talks to will talk about, the old stuff they found on Native Americans, old American history they don't know about. Like he has scientists on there talking about a lot of stuff, just like you. Like y'all bring on some great guests, and I think y'all need to link.
All right, tag me in
y'all
his shit.
Definitely need.
Tag me in his shit.
Yeah, I could even get you in the Discord server or whatever.
I'm not going
to. If you hit me up.
I don't got time to be on Discord.
Oh no, I'm saying like I'm in the server and like.
Just link me. Just link me. Just link us. Just link us.
Yeah.
Tag me on Twitter and we'll link. That's nothing.
I might have sent you some of his before because some of them videos, man.
Yeah.
We got a couple different things I know you love to look at, and y'all guys have great conversations. So I wanted to let you know about that.
All right, say less. I gotta jump though. I gotta hit this next call, man. I gotta go do ATB. I'm over on a fucking BitBoy channel.
All right, bet. Hotep and Bill.
All right, Hotep and Bill. Yeah, that's Tari on the check-in. That's love. That's love. That's love. See how you trying to put, like link people together, make connections. That's dope. That's love. Troublemaker Jonah, he over here sending links in the chat over on Rumble. Shout out to my Rumble fam. I appreciate you. Appreciate you. Hey YouTube, I need y'all to come over to Rumble. YouTube don't give me no love. YouTube shows me no love. So, at your convenience, I'm not trying to force you now, but when you finally get tired of being over there, come join me over on Rumble. Hit the join button on Rumble. That'll take you to my community. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know how that shit got attached to this account. Because it's supposed to be all of our accounts, and that's like attached to my own personal thing. And I don't feel like making a group one. So hit the join button and take it to my shit. You know what I'm saying? What else? So that's the locals. They hit me today. They want me to tweet it out. I'm gonna tweet it out later. Get your master focus, get your brain boosters. Link in the description box below, 30% off. 30% off. Link in the description box below. Go ahead and hit that link. I'm about to be on ATB. I'm about to go refresh myself, get ready for that. I'll probably grab an apple or something. I got my knife down here, so I'm ready to munch. But I'll be back. What's today? Today's Friday. Oh shit. Damn. So yeah, all my exclusives gonna be on local this week. I'm gonna be on locals. I might go live on locals. But all my exclusives, where I'm at and all of that, we're gonna be on locals with it. It's gonna be dope. You're gonna like some of the content I put out this weekend. It's gonna be lit. Yeah, that's all, man. Y'all have a great weekend, man. Make sure you use your weekend and spend some time with your fam. Use your weekends wisely. Don't just waste it away. Use it. If you're gonna hang out, have a good time, man. If you're gonna hang out, have a good time. Don't try to wild out too much. Just have a good time. Don't go for the score. Don't go for the coochie. Just aim for just having a good time. If you aim for having a good time, the coochie will come to you. Trust me. So don't be wilding out there being all thirsty. Let's not be thirsty this weekend, fellas. Let's just go outside and have a good time. If you go outside and have a good time, it'll show people to see how great of a person you are, and she'll throw you some coochie. You know what I'm saying? Just for being a nice guy. But, don't be one of those thirsty guys. Some of you guys are real fucking creepy on the women and shit. You know what I'm saying? Relax. Have a good time, and everybody will get some at some point. Your hoe chose me. I'm out of here, man. I'll see you on Monday. For my people on locals, I'll see you tomorrow. Hotep and Bill.
Yeah, I can try to get that handled for you. Again, it's only my second day, so if you can give me a second. How am I supposed to do this? How the hell are we supposed to do this by 5 o'clock?
I have no clue.
Is that possible? Hey, do you have the password to... How'd you finish all your work already?
He's not tapped in. How'd you get that done so quick?
They think they're gonna be able to budget that?
It's money. That's money right there. You understand? You guys finished your work 6 hours early?
He's not tapped in.